I understand we need to move beyond color. I'm not about that, but y'all raised it. If you start it, I'll end it for you. Don't start nothing, it won't be nothing.
I did not know I was on mute. Was I on mute? Or everyone heard me? Wow, I'm not sure if I was even on mute. All right, real quick. I did not know I was on mute. My bad. Yeah. So was I on mute, Anthony? Hit 1 if I was on mute in the beginning of my introduction, because I'm not sure if I was on mute or not. Maybe I was, maybe I wasn't. But, maybe do a little, hold on a second. Hold on 1 second, people. I was on mute. All right. Hold on 1 minute. I did not know I was on mute. So basically, real quick, if I was on mute, basically I'm gonna be talking about Christianity and how it affects Black people mentally, spiritually, and I'm gonna go about pretty much a personal incident that happened to me within my family. I'm gonna show you some text that was going back and forth. For those of you who may not know, I'm atheist to people who follow Abrahamic religions, but I am agnostic, right? So we all know we have people in our family that are, they run the spectrum of how religious they are. But I'm going to show you and prove to you that Abrahamic religions are dangerous when it comes to African people as a whole, right? And how we view ourselves through the lens of those religions, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play Pastor Manning for those of you who don't know who they are, who he is. He's the perfect example of how Black people think of themselves through the lens of Christianity, of how they're less than, right? And how they're not worthy. So I'm going to play this. It really captures how Black people see themselves in the world, and as well as within the confines of Christianity of who they are, right? So I'm going to play this little quick sermon. It's it really drives home of how Black people think, and then from there I'm going to play the text that I have with my family, right? Going back and forth, and really go through that. It's going to be insane. But in the meantime, enjoy the sermon.
I understand we need to move beyond color. I'm not about that, but y'all raised it. If you start it, I'll end it for you. Don't start nothing, it won't be nothing. But we got a problem. Black people got a problem. Now we can move to color blindness and always look at the man by the content of his character, never the color of his skin. I'm down for that. You get my vote. Yay and amen. I'm for that. But before we get there, we need to hear some truth. Black people and white folk. Black people got a problem. And it's a God problem. When Black people see the world, I don't care. You can train them. You can train a Black man to be a physician. You can train him to be an astrophysicist. You can train him to be a lawyer, but you can't train him to understand the world. He doesn't know. I'm telling you. There's not 2 cents worth of difference between a mass murderer. There's not 2 cents of difference between a petty thief that's locked away in prison than a Black doctor when it comes to understanding the world. Listen, you listen to me. We got to deal with this. And we need to begin to acknowledge it, talk about it, ask God to help us, because only God can help Black people where they are. Black people had Africa, that big old continent over there. They never built one boat that was seaworthy, not one. There's not one monument in Africa, in all of Africa. I know you're talking about Egypt. Egypt is not Africa. There are no great cities that were built. Even before the first colonization of white people, coming to the shores of Africa or the slave ships, black men built nothing. No sewer system, no houses above one level, and none of them made out of stone. All of them made out of grass and wood. Black men, before the white man ever got to Africa, the worst thing that could ever happen to South Africa was when they gave it to Nelson Mandela and black folk. That was a great nation. Now, notwithstanding apartheid was wrong, we all know it's wrong. I'm against it. There should have been some other resolution, though, than turning it over to Nelson Mandela. Disease, AIDS, and crime is running wild in Johannesburg. They're killing one another over there. They're dying of sickness. The government is mismanaged. The people who ran the nation are now leaving the nation because black folk don't know how to run no nation. They don't know how, and we need to admit it. I know you don't like it, but you need to stop shucking and jiving. We got a problem. Nigeria produces oil every year, yet the children over there are hungry and pot-bellied and walking barefoot. We got a problem. You talk about the Hutus and the Tutsis. Look what's going on in Zimbabwe now with Mugabe. We got a problem, black folk. And forget about Zimbabwe and South Africa, Nigeria. Look at what y'all have done in Harlem. You can't even hold on to Harlem. We got a problem. Black folk don't understand the world. You can get mad with me all you want. You can say what you, but you can't prove me wrong. Now, I'm not saying this because I hate black folk. I'm saying it because I love you enough to tell the truth. And the only person going to ever help us get out of the situation is going to be God. There's something wrong with the black man's mind. There's something wrong with his mind. He does not understand the world. He doesn't. I don't care if he learned medicine. He doesn't understand the world. He can't even hold on to Harlem. When he was here, he moved out. We got to talk to the Lord. People, we got to talk to God. And black women, Shirley Chisholm, Harriet Tubman, Coretta King, one of her boys.
I'm gonna stop her. I'm gonna stop her right there. I know y'all probably had enough, but I'm playing that just to give you an idea of that's the Christian mindset. If I'm not saying you can't be Christian and love black people and love Africa or anything like that, but it's kind of hypocritical because if you go according to the doctrine of Christianity, the Hebrew faith, Islam, right? Black people are not favored at all, right? So it's a battered wife syndrome thing that they have, and they have to do spiritual, mental gymnastics in order to cope with them being Christian, right? So you see the picture I have right here that's up, right? And you see the thumbnail. So in order for black people, in order to cope, I mean, all people do it, you know what I'm saying? If whatever religion you are, that you adopt, right? Because it's not your religion. Whatever religion that you adopt, you have to have God in your image, right? It makes no sense for an Asian person to worship, let's say, a Buddha that's black. You know what I'm saying? Buddha is in their image, right? Black, same thing with Asians. There's Asian Jesuses that looks Asian, right? So what black people is doing is nothing different than other non-white people would do when they see the depiction of who Jesus is. So like the picture you're seeing right here and the thumbnail, they make everybody black in order for things to make sense to them, in order to cope with all the horrific things and them being black people being third, fourth, fifth class citizens. If they make them black, then they're no longer that. They have raised up the totem pole of being the first people, yada, 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 yada. So this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with spiritually deluded people. So what I'm going to do right now, I forgot to do this one. So I'm going to show you the text right here. Now, real quick, what got me out of being a Christian, it was Dr. Asa Hilliard, Dr. Barashango, and Dr. Ben was just Dr. Ben was the nail in the coffin. And the lecture that I saw from Dr. Ben was basically him. He was teaching obviously in a classroom setting. And basically he said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go over the book of Exodus. And I'm going to show you why the book of Exodus is not historically accurate and it's all a farce, right? Now, I can't believe I forgot to put this video up. That's one of the first things I should have done. So I'm going to, so let me do this first. So I'm going to show you the text that I have between family members and I, because it's a family group text that we have. And, you know, we put whatever recipes, jokes, you know, this person graduated, I'm here on vacation, yada, yada, yada. All right. So I always bow out of the, hey, it's Easter and it's Passover and whatever religious holiday, I just bow out of it because they know how I feel about it. And I can't, you know, I don't want to upset them with the truth. But so let me share here. So this is it, if you could see it. All right, so you see up top there, way at the top, you're going to see a link. So they put a link in there. So I'm like, all right, what link is this? So they put the link in there, and I'm going to show you what that link is to. So I'm like, all right, let me check it out. Hold on one moment. I have a lot of good stuff here. Please be patient. I'm about to pull it up right now. Yes, here we go. So I pull it up. And it's this.
The book of Psalms is more than...
It's talking about the book of Psalms. So many a times I just ignore the religious stuff. You know what I'm saying? Once in a while, depending, you know what I'm saying, how I feel, I may respond to it. So definitely not going to play all this bullshit. All right. But there are a lot of, I think I'm going to play about 2 minutes of it. And I'm pretty much responding to 2 minutes of it because you'll see.
A collection of ancient songs and poetry. What if this book, buried in the middle of our Bibles, contains a doorway?
Now notice, they make everybody black. Everybody black. We all know that black people are from Africa. For those of you that may not know, the Hebrews are people, if they were historical, accurate people, if they really existed, like biblical Hebrews, they would not have been black. According to the Bible, they wouldn't have been African. They may have been dark complexioned, tan, or something like that, but they were not black people. But them not knowing that, they're making everybody black in this YouTube video. Everybody is heavy melanated to be black. This is the cognitive dissonance and the ahistorical history that they're trying to shove down our throats.
Into the human soul, capturing everything from praise and triumph to fear, grief, and even doubt. Psalms is unique. It's the heartbeat of Scripture.
Psalms is not unique, and I'm going to prove it to you very shortly.
Place where raw human emotion meets the divine. Here, you'll find words that give voice to joy and sorrow, faith and questioning, worship and waiting. This is the book where humanity meets God in all its honesty and vulnerability.
That is true and not true, but no man, even in the Bible, it says that no eye shall lay upon God, right? Because you'll be stricken dead, because the glory of the God is so magnificent and bright that you will fall out and die. So I don't know what that they mean by that, by physically meeting God. You can't physically meet God.
Ability. The Book of Psalms, known as the hymn book of the Bible, is a collection of 150 poetic expressions written across centuries by various authors.
Written by centuries of various authors. That is true. But they're going to lie about the authors.
Its authors include some of the most iconic figures in the Bible. David, known
Doesn't exist.
as a man after God's own.
Now, look at this. They made David a black man, but he has blue eyes. Okay. There's some Negro AI nonsense.
Own heart is responsible for nearly half of these psalms. But we also hear the voices of Moses, Solomon,
Moses, Solomon also never existed as historical figures.
and the sons of Korah. Together, these voices create a tapestry of human.
See, they're making everybody black. Everybody is black. This is a person that you already know who made this video, made this AI imagery. You know, this is a person that does not understand history at all. They don't understand history at all. They don't have an ideology, not an ideology. They don't have a concept of what actual history is and what biblical history is. And during the intersection of these two things, they're not at that point where they could think to deduce like, okay, this is the biblical history. Biblical history should correlate into actual history. I used to be like that. Biblical history and regular history, they're parallel to each other. You just have to find where they intersect and make sense of it. This is not what that is, which is very sad. So this already tells this person doesn't even have a slightest idea of what actual basic fundamental history is.
Human experience touching every part of the human condition. Have you ever felt like you couldn't find the words to pray? Or maybe your soul is so burdened you can't even lift your head. In moments like these, the Psalms come alive. They give us the language to approach God in any season of life. Psalms doesn't shy away from the tough questions. Where is God?
Like, why does God got hair like he got a weave in? God got hair like a horse tail, but he's supposed to be black. Like, I don't get that.
God, when I'm suffering, why does it seem like the wicked prosper? Can I really trust God with everything? These are the real, honest cries of the heart found throughout the book. And yet, alongside these questions, the Psalms are filled with words of comfort, reminding us of God's faithfulness, his unchanging character, and his unbreakable promises.
Bullshit. God breaks promises all the time. God is regrettable all the time. Like this is according to the Bible. According to the Bible, he says he cursed places that should be a desolate from here and forever. Like he cursed Egypt so many times. Egypt is not a desolate wasteland, right? There are people there. There are people thriving. God also makes mistakes. In the Bible, he says he regret making man. He regret making man. He also regrets, right now, an omniscient being, right? A being that makes no mistakes and can tell what's the past, present, and the future. When he flooded the whole world, right? And during the whole flood episode, right? At the end of it, he says he regret doing that, and he shall never bring a flood ever again to the earth, to the planet. That's a regret. That is a human mortal fallacy that we have. But God has regret. If God's going to do something, there's a purpose for it. They always tell us there's a greater meaning for it. You don't know the mind of God, so you can't question God. Your ways are not his ways. God is a man, because it's always his and him. But it's not supposed to be sexist, right? That's another story. But God actually did the flood, and he says he regretted, and he sent the dove over to know that there was land, and to God's promise. The rainbow is God's promise that he shall never do it again. This is in the Bible after the flood. This is all bullshit, what they're talking about.
Psalms is structured in a way that reflects the rhythm of life itself. The book is divided into 5 sections, or books, each ending with a doxology or expression of praise. This structure mirrors the 5 books of Moses: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, symbolizing that Psalms serves as a guide for life and worship, just as the Torah does.
And Moses was not around to even write all those books. Moses didn't write all those books. There's no way he wrote all those books. You got to understand, people. The people in the Bible didn't have a Bible. The people in the Bible, I'll say it again, the people in the Bible did not have a Bible. Like they just admitted, there was Psalms was written by 150, according to them, 150 authors through the millennium, right? So we're talking generations of generations and generations within the frame of the Bible.
These 5 sections are like a journey, starting with cries for help and repentance and moving toward praise and celebration. It's a journey that takes us from the valley to the mountain peak, from darkness into light. The beauty.
So there's it's Isaiah. Oh my God, I forgot the scripture. Isaiah. I'm going to talk about taking us from the darkness into the light. There's a scripture talks about evil. You can always ask me if to get the exact scripture, but I forgot the actual chapter and verse. But it talks about evil, and it's in Isaiah. It says, "I, the Lord God, bring light. I, the Lord God, bring darkness. I, the Lord God, bring goodness and evil. I, the Lord God, do all these things." Right? So basically what that's telling you, I'm kind of paraphrasing here. Basically what that's telling you that God is evil, God is dark, God is light. It's the schizophrenic type of deification of what a characteristic of what God is. Right? So God's saying he is all these things. And that makes sense because nothing could be created in this realm on earth, right, in this dimension, that's not as of God. So God has to be evil. So all the things that we don't like, murder, rape, homosexuality, pedophilia, all that stuff exists because that is a part of God. So that's why me personally, I always say when you read the Bible, Old Testament and New Testament, the devil is really God, right? The devil is really God, because if God is in control of everything, and you hear always Christians say God is in control, what? All the time. Good. So if God is in control all the time, this is what he is allowing. This is what he's allowing. So he's not, even if you're saying he's not Satan or whatever, he is allowing this because God is in control. What, people? All the time.
Beauty of Psalms lies in its timeless relevance. Written thousands of years ago, these words still speak to us today. In fact, the Psalms are among the most quoted Old Testament books in the New Testament, echoing their central place in worship and faith for generations.
I'm just going to stop it there. I can't take no more of this dribble. So this is what was written. This was that was the link that was about, right? They wrote that. And so I'm like, okay, cool. So the first thing that comes to mind, right? Studying, African studies, Christian faith, and all that. When I hear Psalms, the first thing that comes to mind from a historical standpoint is pretty much what I wrote here. So I said Psalms is a work is works from other people and nations like Africa, aka Egypt, and Asia Minor. Remember, the people, quote unquote people in the Bible never had a Bible. This is one of the lectures that opened my eyes and changed my life. I think you would enjoy it. So that is, I don't know if today, I'm trying to find the right one. I wasn't able. Again, I apologize. I forgot to show it to you guys, but I believe it was, no, that's not the one. I believe it's this one. This, I believe it's this one. I'm just gonna show, but it's a video of Dr. Ben. No, that's not the one. It's a video of Dr. Ben pretty much talking about the Exodus, debunking what the Exodus was. Pretty much saying like, for instance, you know what, I'm just gonna pull up. Whoa, this is it. Yeah, this is it. Yes, this is it right here. Hold on one moment. I'm going to share it with you guys. For those of you who may not know, this right here, it really, really, real personal story. It changed my life. But what happened, I was like upset because again, I was a Christian who believed that the Bible was historical. And when you listen to Dr. Ben, he gives you receipts and he makes you think, right? So this is what I showed them. Said Dr. Ben, 1983 lecture on African origins of Christianity, right? So one of the things that he woke me up, he was like, hey, look, so when you read your Exodus story, it talks about, Moses he was a Hebrew and then he was raised. Then, the Pharaoh's wife took him. He was using a basket of reeds, yada, yada. He was raised in Pharaoh's house, him and Ramses. So he was raised an Egyptian, all that stuff. One of the things Dr. Ben says is like, and the Bible always tells on itself, is talk about Ramses. So obviously Ramses, that's a timestamp. So it's going to say, so it's going to be Ramses on the first, the second, or the third, right? They're in a line. So we're only talking like 3 generations, right? They said during the time of Ramses, they're saying that Moses, the Hebrews, were in captivity in Egypt and they were building the pyramids. Now, when we go, Dr. Ben point out, if you go to talk to any Egyptologist, chematologist, anyone in history, the pyramids were already done being built during the time of Ramses. The big pyramid of Giza, it was already done. It was already built. So what are they building? They weren't building pyramids around that time. So strike one. So that doesn't make any sense. Another one, there's a whole bunch of other things that doesn't correlate. Another one was when Moses found out that, when he was beating the Hebrew slaves and yada yada yada. No, not him. Overseer was beating one of the Hebrew slaves and he took it from him and got in trouble, and because he stood in the way of Hebrews being abused or whatever, and he chastised them and he was abusing the overseer that was abusing the Hebrew people. He ran away, yada yada, came back, found out he was a Hebrew. Then he went to the mountain. God gave him 10 commandments. Oh, wow. Thank you, God. You gave me 10 commandments, a burning bush that talks, right? We're supposed to believe a burning bush that talks, right? Burning bush that talks, right? Gave Moses 10 commandments, right? He even didn't see God, but he came back. It says his hair was white, right? Because he was somewhat in the presence of God, but he didn't see God. But according to the YouTube video that it shows, it says we met God, whatever, right? He comes back down and has these 10 commandments like they're brand new. This is hilarious. The 10 commandments is nothing short of the 42 negative confessions of Ma'at, right? Out of the 42 negative confessions, right? Those 10 commandments are in the 42 negative confessions. It says, saying, so instead of the biblical version, I have not killed, I have not did bear false witness, I have not stolen, things like that. In the 40 negative confessions, it's the same thing. They took 10 of the rules to live by from the Egyptians, and then just say, well, this is the Jewish one. That's like you saying, okay, I don't like America, I don't like the Constitution, right? And you're gonna go somewhere, say, hey, I went to this mountain and I came back with the Constitution, and say, First Amendment right is to bear arms. No, not First Amendment right is to bear arms, but your amendment right is to bear arms, freedom of speech, pretty much the same thing. And we're gonna have amendments, and then we're gonna have right to vote and freedom of the press. It's like, whoa, how is this different? This is not different. It's the same thing. So those were the things that, one of the few things that Dr. Mann was talking about, right? And doing a historical comparison and studying it, that's what snapped me out. I was mad, I was mad at my mother, my grandma, but then I was like, no, they don't know, so it was a lot of emotions I was feeling back then, so this was like over 20 years ago, and I just thirst for more knowledge, reading the Bible, reading history and things like that, and really understanding why my people came to believe these things and why they hold this dear to their hearts. So pretty much is water under the bridge. So again, I sent this to them hoping maybe I changed a few people's minds, who knows, hoping that to broaden their spiritual horizons, to broaden their knowledge, right? Did it work? Let's see. Let's see if it works. Let's go back to the text. All right. So this is what I sent them, right? I put the link there and everything, right? So right here, I think, hold on. I think I was cut off a little bit. It was cut off a little bit, my fault. It says the Hebrews of the Bible, aka Torah, aka the book of law, our ancestors, he's claiming Hebrew people to be his ancestors. Our ancestors wrote these books without proof. He's saying they're our ancestors. This book is about a never forget about us never forget the English Bible is an interpretation of our books. And some of my family wrote true. Then I posted this. Pretty much, you guys, this is my I did my DNA through ancestry.com, and you see it all here, right? All here. And I've written, this is what I wrote. I said, we are descendants of West Africans. Hebrews, obviously I put in quotes, are Asiatic. The only Abrahamic religions that we brought to the New World is Islam, and we adopted that from the Arabs. All of the other spiritual systems that we brought over are traditionally West African. Here is my / our ancestors makeup who suffered and endured the slave trade. So that's what I showed you there, right? Show them that. So, I'm about showing and proving, right? That is our makeup, right? That's what it is. So let's see how they responded to it. They put, good morning. Don't be mad at me, family, for the long message. I just wanted to share. Read on your own time. God bless. Yes, I did see a short documentary about very intelligent African Muslims being captured and sold into slavery. Now, I don't understand what they mean by that, because Africans aren't traditionally Muslim. So maybe they're talking about, the Africans are already, taken up from West Africa that already adopted Islam. In addition, prior to the name Arab, Ishmaelites from Ishmael, was the original name of Abraham's son and his son's seed. There's no Arabs never historically consider themselves Ishmaelites. If any of you look up that word Ishmaelites, it's only a name that's found in the Bible. It's not a historical name that other people, that the Arabs call themselves, or any other people call them that. It's strictly people who adopted the Hebrew faith and the Hebrew ideology view of the world that actually called those particular people that. That's it. Full stop. Right? Original sons and his son's seed. If you look at the seed offspring of Ishmael, the names are very similar to the current Arabs. Genesis 25, 20, 23. I don't know if I should even show you guys that if you're even interested in that. It's basically just breaking down, who saying the same thing he's saying, Ishmael. The scripture digs further and says Ishmael and his descendants occupied the land of Havalia, or whatever, those through Shur, Genesis, yada yada yada. These places are known as Saudi Arabia and West Africa. So Saudi Arabia, West Africa. So this is how he doesn't know any history. So during those times, what we call now Saudi Arabia or the Iberian Peninsula, or I like to call it the African Peninsula, those areas over there during that time were occupied by Africans. Egypt had cities and states and satellite states in the so-called Iberian Peninsula, which they also call Asia Minor, right? Which they also call Asia Minor in that area, right? So he's trying to separate. He's saying the Hebrews are our ancestors, but at the same time admitting, without him knowing, that we're different, but even though we're still in Africa and in place in Africa, right? And I'm not even going to show you guys that, because even when you go over there into the scripture, hold on, it talks about how in that area, in that land, it goes there's that town and that area is in Africa, probably by the Nile. So again, you're in Africa, right? You're in Africa, right? Saudi Arabia, right? So the next one, so mind you, I gave this to one of my family members, right? They're a lightweight Christian, right? The person responding right now is a Hebrew Israelite. They think they're a Hebrew Israelite. Yeah, an actual freaking Hebrew Israelite. So I know I am not talking to my direct family member. I am talking to a family member that is married to a Hebrew Israelite. So knowing that person, pretty much not even the Hebrew Israelite could fuck with me anyway, but since that person can't deal with me directly when it comes to talking about religion and history and scriptures and things like that, they just gave their phone to their partner and answer it, because I know my particular family member does not talk like this, right? Does not talk like this, does not talk like a puppet, so this person is talking like a puppet. They're talking pretty much like a Hebrew Israelite. For those of you who may not know, I've been to Hebrew Israelites on the corner. I've been with them at debates. I like about 10 years ago, that's all I used to do was debate Hebrew Israelites, debate scripture, all that, saying they're not African, and Hamites and Kemites this, and Africans was backwards, pretty much like the Pastor Manning thing, right? So yeah, just to give you guys the background, this is a Hebrew Israelite that we're talking to, right? So it says, further on, it says, for the current people occupying the land are not original people of the book. The people there are of mingled seed. During a period of time, the original Hebrews moved further down from what we will call the Middle East. Like, wait. So you're Asian now. You know what I'm saying? Just like the 5%ers and stuff like that. They talk about the Asiatic black man. There's no such thing as an Asiatic black man. There is an Asiatic black man, yeah, but you will be a Muslim, which would be even being worse than a Hebrew because you were captured under Arab Islam. You were subjugated by a different group of people. But if you travel down to the Middle East, if any of you have a map in your head, you're Asian. You're Asian. You're some type of white Arab type conglomerate amalgamation of something. You're not even black. You're not even black because you're saying you're going to the Middle East. You're coming down to the Middle East, further down from what we call the Middle East to Africa to avoid persecution from the Roman Empire. So good. They put a timestamp on that from the Roman Empire, right? The Roman Empire at that time had all types of people. The Roman Empire, how should I put it? The Roman Empire did persecute people, but it didn't exclude people. The Roman Empire, you were allowed to have whatever religion you want, but you're going to be subjugated under the Roman Empire. Even in the New Testament, when Jesus was around, they talk about Pontius Pilate and how Pontius Pilate went to whatever the Roman governor's name at the time and said, well, he thinks he's a false prophet, yada, yada. So him saying they ran away really makes no sense because you were under the rule of the Roman Empire and you guys did not run away. We could read the New Testament and realize that you didn't run away. Jesus was there among his people with Romans at that time. So again, person don't know what the hell they're talking about, right? Africa, to avoid persecution of the Roman Empire, the other nations are known for calling us black African Americans. You're not black African American if you're Asiatic. You're not. African American Negroes by words. So Psalms 44:14, loving us all as one. Right? Wait. If you're not black, he's trying to say that black people are Hebrews that weren't even in the Middle East. Because they came down. You know a map and know where the so-called Middle East and the Arabian Peninsula is, right? You said you came down, so you're going south. So you're going south into that region. So it means you came from Asia or Europe somewhere. You came from Asia or Europe. You're not black. So how non-black people are considered to still be black? It makes no sense, people. None of this is making any sense. This person is a moron. People that phenotypically look like West Africans, right, are going to be African. They're not going to be some type of Mongoloid. They're not going to be some type of Asian or anything like that. According to what this person is saying, these people that look like us, that originated out of Africa, that looked like us, went into Africa and blend in with the Africans. Make that make sense. That doesn't make any freaking sense, right? But he's going according to the Bible. He has Bible brainworm. This person has Bible brainworm. They can't think for themselves, and they don't know anything else. Their head is totally empty. They have no knowledge of regular, common, fundamental history. So there's nothing there to filter the bullshit. And say, you know what? This doesn't make sense. This is bullshit. So since the Bible is the truth, that's all the person needs to know, right? As a part of the Africans knew we were people that were sent apart, that were set apart. How? Show me. This is all hearsay. Even in Psalms, the scripture he put doesn't even say that. But even if Psalm says that, show us historically, because we're talking about two different people. You're saying your people say that. Show me Africans attributing to this historical event. It doesn't happen. The person's just talking. And this is where it gets good. It says the people were set apart. Our God wasn't the same God that they worship. Exactly, because you guys got an Asiatic white God, and the Africans got a black God. You cannot claim blackness when you're saying that you originated somewhere north of the Middle East and the Iberian Peninsula. You're a white Asiatic person. You're not an African person, right? God was not the same, right? We got the Hamites / Africans said the black sold the black Hebrews into slavery. Pause. Read it again. The Hamites / Africans sold black Hebrews into slavery. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound like when you talk to the average African American or black person from the Caribbean or wherever, they say, or even a white supremacist or ignorant white people say, oh yeah, black people sold each other into slavery. So if this is a very popular notion and you read something like this, you're going to do a correlation, not due to studying, due to popular belief. I always say there's in between popular belief and the truth. We all heard the analogy, a lie goes around the world several times while the truth is still putting its shoes on. So this is what he's saying. This is what he's saying, sold each other into slavery. And it's going to get even better. Then I'm going to switch off to prove them going to scripture, right? It says the Hebrews didn't have the same culture as the Africans. You're damn straight. If we were African, why didn't Africans, hold on, going to the next one. If we were Africans, why didn't, where am I? If we were Africans, why didn't Africans fight for us? If we were Africans, why didn't Africans fight for us? I'm talking to a straight up nigga. That's family, but I'm talking to a straight up nigga. Again, this is why the first time that I heard this on a big stage, I think I spoke about this before. Remember Def Comedy Poetry Jam, and it had Smokey Robinson. He was on there. Mos Def was the host, and Smokey Robinson was on there, right? And he was, in his poem, he was saying, oh, we ain't African, and we ain't African because they don't like us anyway. Then Paul Mooney had a stand up saying, like, I don't understand Africans. We over here, we getting our asses kicked. Any other people would have got on a boat, got on a boat, and got their people back. Those two people, fuck Smokey Robinson, but peace and respect to Paul Mooney. And I was extremely upset because he was totally ignorant in what he's saying. Again, these people don't know world history, right? They're thinking that after white people just came, got Africans, right? Stole Africans from West Africa, went to the New World, right? Went to the Americas and left the Africans there by themselves. And Africans like, oh, and the Africans are like, whoo, wow, whoo, that was close. We didn't get caught. So let's continue as business as usual and like nothing didn't happen. And let's move on with our lives. That's what these silly Negroes think. That's what these silly Negroes think. The white people stayed there. Black people were catching hell in Africa, and they were catching hell in America. A matter of fact, Africa's been catching hell since the Roman Empire. Since the Roman Empire, they got rid of, they were dealing with the Arabs. No, they were dealing with the Romans, got rid of the Romans, right? North Africa. And then after they finished dealing with the Romans, they started dealing with the Arabs. Then the Arabs started invading North Africa and making their way down all the way to East Africa and some portions of West Africa. Still at war. Then you got a new influx of invaders of Europeans coming in. in West Africa. Right? So we're fighting off 3 groups of people. We're fighting off Europeans, we're fighting off Arabs, and we're fighting off we're fighting off Europeans and we're fighting off Arabs. Right? And again we were fighting off Romans. We're fighting off all these people. We're fighting. This is like the real World War I in Africa. Obviously, I'm a part of that. Not to take away the pain and tribulation that we went through in the Americas, but it was bad in Africa. It was bad in Africa. So we didn't have the resources or the people. Like Dr. Clark says, if you don't believe me, he said if the average slave trade didn't take place, we probably would have had enough numbers to beat the Europeans. But the Arab invasion was a constant invasion, and places never recuperated from those Arab invasions. Then we get another invasion, which is the Europeans. So what this person is saying makes no sense. And this is how a person doesn't know history, and they're just morons. So let's go back, right? This is the right one. So yeah, right here. They didn't fight for us. So this is the pop. If anything, anyone know about Negroites? I call them Negroites. I don't even call them Hebrew Israelites. I call them Negroites. So if you know anything about Negroites, to defend their position of why they are anti-African and have all these white supremacist anti-African sentiment, they pull up Deuteronomy 28 chapter 68 verse. That's what they pull up. And when you study that while knowing history, it makes no sense. So again, we're doing a little church today. We're doing a little church today. So let me pull up Deuteronomy. Right? Here we are. So let me put it up. So I'm going to pull up the Queen James Version. Like Kofi, why are you calling the Queen James Version? Well, you need to study who King James was. And I think that's self-explanatory. Study who Queen James was, right? So Deuteronomy 28 chapter 68 verse. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way wherefore I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Now that makes no sense, because if they're using this as a parallel to what happened in the New World, we were bought. So where it says your enemies for bond, so it says your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you, that makes no sense on its face. Because we all know during the transatlantic slave trade, they kept kidnapping more Africans and more Africans and more Africans. Now, this is the thing that also makes no sense. So you have to ignore the fact that they're not black, but they're black. They're from a place where there's no black people that look like human. Everybody that looks phenotypically like us is either from Africa, or maybe it's a stretch, would be India was a stretch, and maybe someplace like Papua New Guinea or the Solomon Islands. But that's not what we're talking about. This Negro said we came from north of the Middle East. You're in Asia. You're in Asia, Eastern Europe. You're like in Asia, Eastern Europe. You're north. Like there's no black people originate from there. No black people originate from there. He would have been better off saying from the Iberian Peninsula, right? Which there were black people there, right? And you want to claim that they're the Hebrew Israelite, you have a better argument there, but the person's an idiot. They don't know that. So we know this already makes no sense. And where it says, your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. No man shall buy you. So basically, they're saying that they were slaves. We were slaves. So Africans didn't come and get us because Africans knew that, oh, those are black Hebrew Israelites. We're not black Hebrew Israelites. We're just Africans. So us being Africans, right? That's why we don't care about those people that look like us are not really us. So that's why we mind our business, because the people that really was a part of transatlantic slavery were just the white man only got the black people that were Hebrew Israelites, and they left all the Africans in Africa. Yeah, sounds fucking crazy. Even though they were able to amalgamate into Africa, right? The white man came there and only got the black Hebrew Israelites and left the Africans there. This is what they want you to believe. Fooling, knowing well that the only Abrahamic religion that was being practiced at that time in West Africa was Islam. There was no Hebrew. There's a story of an Equion, a non-Equion. He was a Muslim, right? Thomas Jefferson had a Quran and he had a Bible, and they had some slaves that knew the Quran. So if they're reading the Bible, obviously they're reading the Bible. The Bible stories and the stories of the Quran are similar. So when they were able to speak English, they were able to finish the stories. Like, how do you know that? How do you know it? Again, our people were multilingual, and they were able to write. So someone were able to write Arabic, right? And they knew the stories, right? There's not one case of one story of any black person that said they were a Hebrew Israelite that came to the Americas. Not in North America, Central America, or South America. There's not one case of an African, aka Hebrew Israelite, right, that came to the Americas that say, "Oh, my religion is the Hebrew faith. Oh, I got a Torah. Oh, you kidnapped me when I was wearing fringes." Never happened, right? And hold on, there's another one that says, hold on one second. Yeah, that's. Ooh, let me show you this. So yes, I should have shown you guys this. Hold on one second. So when he was talking about Ishmael, right, about the Arabs call themselves, we're also called Ishmael, knowing that's not the truth. Let me show you this, because I want to show you how anti-black and how anti-African the Bible is. And yeah, that's why I pulled this up so I could show you. So remember, in the text, he was talking about Ishmael is a real name of the Arabs. Hold on one moment. Is that it? Hold on, let me see. Yes. So he's talking about. So he put this up. He put this scripture up. Genesis chapter 25, verse 13, verse 15, right? And these are the names of the sons of Ishmael by their names, according to the generations, the firstborn of Ishmael, Nebuchadnezzar, Kedar, and Abel, and Mibsam, right? And Mibsam and da. This name right here, Kedar. 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 When I was reading this, Kedar screamed in my head. I'm about to show you if anyone heard of the Psalms of Solomon. The Psalms of Solomon. This got me kicked out of, almost got me kicked out of a barbershop. I went to a barbershop. It was a bunch of Jamaicans, and we were talking about religion and talking about, again, trying to make Christianity and the Hebrew faith, blackity black. Oh, it's black and black, black, black. And I'm like, nah. So, you know, me, I'm playing chess because you just can't show black people the truth because they turn like a pillar of salt, like they're fleeing Sodom and Gomorrah, right? So I'm like, really? It's blickety black, 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 right? I was like, okay. So you love Solomon, and yes, Solomon was a wise man, and Solomon this, Solomon that. You know, they all, black people love Solomon, you know, because God favored Solomon. He's the wisest man. He had a whole empire. He had a whole kingdom, the wisest man, and all this other stuff. I'm like, okay, good, okay. You like Solomon, yeah, okay. So let's read a scripture called the Song of Solomon. Now, the Song of Solomon is basically, I'll just read it to you. I'm just gonna read it to you. So this is a woman pleading with Solomon, talking to Solomon, pleading with Solomon, right? Want to be one of his wives. Let him kiss me with the kiss of his mouth, for your love is better than wine, your anointing oils and fragrant. Your name is oil poured out. Therefore, virgins love you. Draw me after you. Let us run. Let us run. The king has brought me into his chambers. We will exult and rejoice in you. We will exalt your love more than wine. Rightly do they love you. This is others. She. I am very dark. I am very dark, but lovely. Let me read it again. I am very dark, but lovely. Why is she saying she's very dark if Solomon is dark and all these patriarchs and all these people of the Bible are black? Why would she say she's dark? Then apologize for being dark. Say, I'm dark, but I'm lovely. Because, you know, being dark has nothing, and being lovely and beautiful are not the same thing. I am dark, but I'm lovely. Oh, daughters of Jerusalem, like the tents of Kedar. Like the tents of Kedar. The tents of Kedar are very dark, reddish, brownish, burgundy color. This woman is a black woman. This is a black woman. So if Solomon's a black man, why is she apologizing for being very dark? So if Solomon's a black man, he's a coon. He's just like the white woman. Well, I know it's because Solomon, he like the white bitches. So, but I'm very dark. Make this make sense. Oh, I am very dark, but lovely. Oh, daughter of Jerusalem, like the tents of Kedar, like the curtains of Solomon. Do not gaze at me because I am dark. Do not gaze at me because I am dark. Like stare and lure, like, oh, like, why are you so dark? You're dark. Why is she so dark? Because the sun has looked upon me. Because the sun has looked upon me. My mother's sons were angry with me. They made me keeper of the vineyards. But my own vineyard I have not kept. So when they say my mother's sons were angry with me, they made me keepers of the vineyards, their vineyards. So if you keep up the vineyards, you're out in the sun. You're out in the sun all the time. So she's very dark because she's been keeping her mother's son's vineyard because they were angry with her, but she had not kept her own vineyard. So she's apologizing for being dark, claiming, pleading that, hey, I'm dark, but I'm still lovely. She's dark like the Thames of Kedar, like the curtains of Solomon. Do not gaze and look at me and lure at me because I'm dark. This shit pisses me off. This is why I do not engage in these conversations with certain people, because it fucking pisses me off. Because here are you, if it belongs to you, if you know or not, you are being anti-black, you're being anti-African. Just reading this, and you hold Solomon to such a high esteem, right? Tell me, you whom my soul loves, where your pasture, your flock, where you make it lay down at noon. For why should I be like the one who veils herself besides the flocks of your companions? This is the Songs of Solomon. All this right here. If you do not know, O most beautiful among women, follow the tracks of the flock, the pasture of your young goats, besides the sheds, tents, yada, 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 yada. This is a black woman pleading to Solomon, and excuse her blackness, her darkness. But I'm still beautiful. This is why I do not have these conversations with people like this. Because the moment they turn they nose and they face away and try to reject it and be dishonest, I'm gonna fucking lose it. I'm gonna lose it. You know what I'm saying? You're married into this family. Again, this is family member. You are married into this family, right? And if it's a woman, I'm not saying if it's a woman or not, you saying that my cousin, my sister, my niece, my nephew is not attracted because they're dark, because they're black, but you a Hebrew Israelite, and you want to be black, and you're black, and you're this, and you're that. Like, are you serious right now? This is why I don't have these conversations, because of this. So when he talk about Ishmael and all this other crap and all this other nonsense, so we're gonna go to Deuteronomy. That's where we left off. We're gonna go to Deuteronomy. So Deuteronomy, hold on, let me find it. It was talking about, hold on one second. In Deuteronomy, I'm doing so on time. Let me not pull that. So I'll just paraphrase that. Hopefully you take my word for it, because I believe my word is good. So it also talks about in Deuteronomy how black people, according to the Hebrew Israelites' interpretation of the Bible, black people will be in the bellies of ships. And it's like, what? Like, yeah, man, we were in the bellies of ships too when we came over here. We were in the bellies of ships. Now, mind you, they're talking about the Roman during that time. They think this is prophecy. They're prophesizing that this is going to happen to us. So this is us. Fool. During the time of the Romans, there were other time periods where there were slaves. According to what the text says that my family member sent me, that, oh, we had to flee because of the Roman Empire, right? So if anyone was to write that during that time, Deuteronomy would be more fitting for the people living that time. Why was someone during that time where actual slavery is happening write about slavery that's going to happen was going to happen about 2,000 years later? That makes no sense. What is 2,000 years, me writing about something's going to happen 2,000 years later, benefit people of today? It's an oxymoronic. It's oxymoronic. It makes no sense. But let's go with their insanity. So if that were the truth, right? We shall be slaves in the belly of ships, right? That's what Deuteronomy says. But when you look, what is a person that is in the belly of a ship called? There's a name for that. There's a name for that person. It is called a galley slave. What's a galley slave? A galley slave was a slave. This is Wikipedia. A galley slave was a slave rowing in a galley, either a convicted criminal sentenced to work at the oar, or French whatever, or a kind of human chattel, sometimes a prisoner of war assigned to the duty of rowing. In the ancient Mediterranean, galley rowers were where mostly free men and slaves were used as rowers when manpower was in high demand. In the Middle Ages and in the early modern period, convicts and prisoners were often manned galleys and the Barbary pirates enslaved captives and as galley slaves, right? During the 18th and 19th centuries, pirates in Asia likewise manned their galleys with captives. This would be more fitting during the time of the Romans and the Arabs, and during the Middle Ages that used that used this type of manpower. We all know the transatlantic slave trade. Africans weren't rowing, didn't go behind an oar. Didn't go behind an oar to do this. We weren't behind an oar rowing. We were shackled and chained together in the belly of a ship. What are they talking about? What are they talking about? Right? What are they talking about? So we all know about the ships that has like the oars. See if I could go up closer. There you go. You can see the oars right here, right? So they're inside with all those oars rowing, right? That would be more fitting and makes more sense because that was happening around that time. The transatlantic slave trade was the last thing that happened. We're talking like 2,000 years later. This is the last event. Why would someone 2,000 years ago write about something that's happening here like that wasn't happening during the time it was written all throughout history? It's retarded. It makes no sense. That's why I'm saying these people do not understand basic fundamental world history. We shall be in a galley of ships. Rowing? We were in a galley of ships, but we weren't rowing. We weren't going like stroke. Like that was not happening. That simply was not happening. Man, these people are morons. These people are absolute morons. Right? Right there, you see with the oars. Right there. Right? That's what that is. So I wanted to bring that to y'all's attention. Come on, let me get the hell out of here. Yeah, so I wanted to bring that to your attention. It doesn't make no sense. So when they use Deuteronomy 28, just tell them to shut the F up, because it's you don't know what you're talking about. Why would they talk about something that's going to happen 2,000 years later, right? So remember, galley slave, right? So, and where am I? So there's another thing I also wanted to mention because I'm kind of running on time, right? So they talk about. So he was talking about No, he wasn't. Not yet. We didn't get there yet. So this is what I'm going to do. Sorry, I'm all over the place. I got so much things. I kind of want to do things in order. So originally, when I said, hey, the book of Psalms was taken from African sources and Asian sources. The person even didn't say, oh, prove it. Prove it. How can you prove it? They just got mad and they got in their white Christian feelings, protecting white supremacy, aka Christianity. So I'm going to show you and prove to you that there's a passage in Psalms that was taken from a pharaoh. Right? So I'm going to share it. Dun, dun, dun. So here's the parallels. So right here. So it will be Akhenaten. Akhenaten. Right? Akhenaten was known for he was a pharaoh, but he was also a priestess, right? He was very, very religious, right? So this is from the Torah, right? There's other sources, but I'm using this because I like the parallel that they have. So the parallel that they're talking about appears in Psalms 104. In 104, right? So themes from the Egyptian great hymn of Aten. The divine sun discs appear in Psalms 104, right? That's Akhenaten, that's his wife Nefertiti, and that's the sun. And this is you have to another thing why I did this, because some of you have to understand Egyptian iconography, you have to understand Egyptian metaphors and what things represent. Because when I was reading the ancient book of the so-called ancient book of the dead, or the Pertem Haru, or the book by day, I had to read and study terminology. I just couldn't read Budge. Budge is one of the first people that translated the so-called ancient book of the dead. I had to read the meaning. So one good book that you could read is a good author, and if you buy any of his books about Egyptian netters and gods, is Muwatta Ashby. Muwatta Ashby, and mostly all his books, he gives you a breakdown. He has to like decolonize your European white mind before you even start getting into Egyptian religion and spirituality, because you're gonna because already you have a European mindset, you have a Eurocentric mindset of what God is. So he has to deprogram you and build you back up to read it, to understand it a certain way, because growing up that particular way, under that, we're only going to see it one way, and it's so diverse. And that, seeing it from a Christian lens or Hebrew lens or Islamic lens, it really handicaps you, right? So saying that to say, so right here is going to have the parallels right here, right? So right here you have it in Hebrew. It says you bring the darkness, you bring the light, whatever. I just want to give that to you. I'm not going to read it all, but the parallels are insane. The parallels are insane. So remember, it's Psalms 104, and the name of the hymn, the Egyptian hymn, is Akhenaten's. It says the great hymn of Aten, right? So check that out. I like this here because it's in the Hebrew and it translates over, and everything is broken down into sections. I was hoping they would say, "Oh, Kofi, let me know, show me," because I never heard of that, and I would have provided them with this and many other things, but they did not. They went on their anti-black, Negro, Israelite thing. So what I would play real quick is the hymn. The hymn is about 2 minutes. I'm gonna play. I'll wing it. If y'all don't want to hear all of it, it's okay. But I'll play it so you get like a gist of what they're talking about. So when you read Psalms, you be like, oh wow, then you could actually see the parallels. So hold on real quick. All right, here we go. Hymns to Aten. Aten means sun or sun rays, right? In Medu Neter, Medu meaning writing, Neter means God. So Medu Neter, the Egyptians were very spiritual people. So when they're writing things about the creator, about gods and goddesses, they named it Medu Neter.
O brilliant Aten, appearing on high, bringer of life, adorning the sky. Every dawn you shine so bright, filling every corner with your light. Great and gracious, shining with might, your rays stretch.
And remember, they replace sun and rays with God. Sun and rays with God. So you interchange those two words and say, oh, the sun, your rays spread all over. It could be, oh God, you spread yourself all over the earth and the hills and the mountains and da 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 da. So keep that in mind.
Stretch forth, encompassing the sight, reaching every end of your domain, and subduing all for your beloved son's gain. Though distant from us, your rays still reach. Beyond our grasp, your movements teach. As you set, darkness covers the land, and creatures slumber, in stillness stand. Asleep in their beds, serene and still, each face hidden, no longer a thrill. Your rays can't pierce, through their deep sleep, for darkness reigns, and secrets you keep. But at your rising, darkness does flee. Your rays bring light, and set all beings free. Two lands enjoy, with open arms, praising your glory, and chanting your charms. All creatures stir, at your wondrous sight, beasts in the fields, and pastures delight. Trees and plants, all flourish and grow. Birds take flight, in your warm glow. Ships sail north and south, in your wake, all paths are clear, as they make their break. Fish dart beneath the green sea, your rays shine bright for all to see. You who bring forth life in mother's womb, creating each child, a miracle to assume. In the mother's belly where he grows, you do sustain him with all he knows. Oh, how wondrous are your creations, hidden from man's sight in all nations. The only God, unmatched in power and might, you shaped the world with your own insight. Alone, you created men and beasts of every kind, on the ground and in the sky, with a masterful mind. From Syria to Nubia and Egypt's lands, you have set each person's place with your hands. Their tongues, natures, and skin tone, you crafted and distinguished on your throne. You made a Nile in the underworld to flow, and one in heaven, so foreign lands can grow. Cities, towns, fields, roads, and rivers, all bask in your radiant light that shivers. In my heart you are enshrined. No one knows you like your son refined. Akhenaten, your son and heir, well versed in your plans and strength to bear. By your hand the world came to be according to your will and decree. When you rise, life awakens, and when you set, all is taken. You are the essence of life and breath. Through you alone we escape death. For you did create the earth and sky, and raised them up for your son on high. From your body the king of Egypt emerged, Akhenaten, whose power surged. And by his side, the chief wife so fair, Nefertiti, youthful and beyond compare. Forever and ever they reign supreme, in the land of Egypt a timeless dream.
That's beautiful. I said I wasn't going to play the whole thing, but I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it too. That was beautiful. So you'll see the when you read Psalms 104, you'll see the parallels. You see the parallels there, right? So yeah, I wanted to do a sidebar and like mention that to you guys. So let me go back and finish reading the text that they gave me. It's almost done. Where am I? Is that it? Nope. Alrighty then. I think I am here. Yeah, Deuteronomy. Already talked about Deuteronomy, and right. So we did that, right? So they talk about Deuteronomy, and they say if Chinese people were being persecuted by a foreign suppressor, I'm sure China waged war. Note Abraham did not birth multiple races, only one. Just like God created man, human, not mankind, mannish, whatever. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about, right? In the scripture, we were constantly whoring after other gods and judges, whatever. So that's the common theme over there. So the thing I don't understand about Christian people, if your God is the God, they say he's the most high God. So it's the law of opposites here. So that means there's more than one legitimate God. Because you're saying, well, yeah, there's other gods, but he's the most high God. You're just saying, okay, there's other gods there, but he's higher than all of them, right? So why would God allow other gods to exist, or B, why don't you just eliminate all gods since you're the most high God, the most powerful God? It's like they're telling on themselves. That never made sense to me. If something is false and not fake, why would you be in fear of it? If you're the real deal, you should, the God of the Bible, which is the only true God, it should be no problem wielding his power. You should not be threatened by something that's non-existent. I never understood that. I never understood that. And I don't think they get that. Right? Our God puts us back into captivity, and every time time we backslide, the judgment got longer. So they're worshiping a tyrannical God. This is not a God of love, according to their own admission. This is a God that every time they fall from grace, he whips them back. Like, that ain't attractive. I'm not trying to go to that. So you're a tyrannical God, right? And this is God's favorite. These people are God's favorite. Everybody else is heathens and Hamites and Ishmaelites and Moabites and all these ites, right? But these people, the Hebrew people, those are his favorite people, and he lets them suffer. Like, you're a bad salesman. You're a bad salesman when it comes to this, right? Puts us backslide, judgment gets longer. Now, 400 years later, we need to get it right with the Most High God. See, the Most High God. There's other gods, right? I don't know why you worshiping those gods. I'm worshiping the Most High God. Yeah, because your God ain't doing shit. So what he's gonna do? He ain't gonna do nothing. You could claim him to be the Most High God, but obviously, you know what I'm saying, these gods must have some validity to them because you're not doing. The Most High God it's allowing them to exist, right? For 400 years, we are. I'm sorry, where am I? The Most High God. And if we don't think we are not back in Egypt, look at the back of our dollar. Thank you, moron. A simplistic moron. So because, again, the person doesn't understand fundamental basic history. Oh, there's a pyramid and there's an eye at the back of the dollar. That means we're in Egypt. Like, Negro, really? Okay. So let's look into it real quick. What the eye and the pyramid on the back of the dollar bill says. First of all, let me do a real quick scripture because, again, if you're a Hamite, you're an African. That's what Hamites are. Hamites and Canaanites are Africans, right? An Edomite is also someone from Egypt, still Canaanite, Hamite. Excuse me, right? And so, yeah, because they were in captivity in Egypt, so we're evil and we don't like Africans because they did all these things. But in your book, it says this: thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou wast a stranger in his land. Explain that to me. Explain that to me. There's context to that, but I don't want to get into the story because I'm gonna diverge into something else. But I would like for a Negro to explain that to me. Thou shalt not abhor. Abhor means you shall not chastise, you shall not mistreat, things like that. You should not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou wast a stranger in his land. So all this hate and animosity that all these Negroites have is unfounded. Is unfounded. It really is unfounded, right? But according to the main story that's being pushed in our face all the time around this time of year, during Good Friday, during Easter, you have to demonize Africans, right? If you all know about the story of Passover, Passover is a murderous thing that happens. This merciful, all-loving God that they claim, right, to prove a point to Pharaoh, right? We're going to put the blood of the lamb over our door. So when the angel of death, God is so merciful, right, that he has to have an angel of death. There's no such thing as an angel of love, the angel of mercy, going around helping people. No. I got an angel of death, right? So when the angel of death goes by, with the mark of the blood of the lamb on the door, he knows not to bring death to that particular household. This is happening in Egypt. Those are black people. So they're celebrating the death, because for some reason, according to Negroites, they're black, but they're not black. They just look African, but they're not African. So, but they're celebrating the death of Africans, of everybody that died during Passover. That's what Passover is. The celebration of death, of man, woman, child, old, young, cripple, you know what I'm saying? Firstborns. You know what I'm saying? So anybody that's a firstborn, you're just dying. Doesn't matter what. All firstborn, anything else born first, you're dying. Even if it's the only child, dead. Even if it's a kitten, dead. Even if it's your mother, that's the only child, dead. No matter what age they are, dead. So Passover is a celebration of death. For those you don't, who may not know, right? So, yes, this merciful God, and I still feel bad that I'm not part of this cult you call Christianity and the Hebrew faith. Nah, I'm good. I'll pass. So, thank you all for who's still here with me. I know this may not be a favorite or interesting topic to me. I love this topic. Maybe I need to start a different channel because I could talk about religion all day. In the beginning of my early days, posting on social media, that's what I mostly did, right? So thank you again. I said Anthony for coming out, or matron. Thank you for coming out, brother Bakari. Thank you for coming out, and especially our brother Buana, right? Thank you for coming out. So this, like I said, these guys, this guy, this woman, this person, they are a Hebrew Israelite. So what I'm about to show you, if you don't understand what Hebrew Israelites are, now me being here in New York, right? I deal with them. Oh, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they're being in the neighborhood, depending on where you live. You know, they're out and about. But I'm sorry. I was supposed to show you guys because the text says that, you don't think we're living in Egypt. Da, 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 da. So I'm going to show you how uneducated this person is and why those things on the dollar bill. So if any real fast history, anyone knows George Washington, people like Benjamin Banneker, but mostly George Washington, he's the one that designed Washington, D.C. And like all civilizations, great civilizations that Egypt was, you have other civilizations. You have the within Egypt, you got the Greeks, you got the Romans that mimic. They were false pharaohs, like the Ptolemaic Empire. They stayed in Egypt. They did everything Egyptian, right? Because they revered the Egyptians. It was a level of achievement if you conquered the Egyptian empire. So they do everything Egypt. You know what I'm saying? So they did everything Egypt, and Egypt was the pinnacle of civilization, of knowledge, of books. They had a lot of books. They had a lot of knowledge there. So George Washington revered that. So so we all know about the Washington Monument. We know about the Washington Monument, and the Washington Monument is called an obelisk, right? So right here, do a simple freaking Google search. You could see the difference between the obelisk and the Washington Monument. Am I sharing? No, I'm not. The obelisk and the Washington Monument. You can see that right here, right? That's all that it is. So he revered it, right? And if you see, there's also, you got that reflection pool. Where am I? Sorry. You got the reflection pool. That's also something that is in Egypt, right? George Washington was not a religious man. He was secular. None of the founding fathers were Christians in that man. They were secular, right? They again, in the Constitution, the state shall not uphold or have a religion. That's the reason why. So all these things that this fool is pointing out to make it religious, it has nothing to do with religion at all. They'll just pretty much exalting the height and the glorification of Egypt, of what Egypt presents. You know what I'm saying? It was pinnacle of ancient civilization, to the point up today, there's a lot of mysteries about Egypt that, some may not be able to understand, but that what makes it all alluring and attractive. These African people that were able to achieve such monumental endeavors, right? So you can see here is the reflection pool. This is at Luxor that we have here. And you know, the Washington Monument also has that reflection pool. Nothing to do with religion. Absolutely nothing to do with religion. It's just mimicking an African civilization due to its greatness. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. Right here it says it's called Eye of Providence, right? So it says used by U.S. governments and confederations, right? So pretty much it's just, again, no religious connotation to it. I'm not going to bore you guys with it. I'm about to get to the good part and then close, right? Nothing religious about it. Everyone uses it in their seal, right? This is a Wikipedia article. You can read up on it. It's just symbolism. That's all that it is. It's considered a great symbolism of protection and providing. That's it. Like, no one's implementing Egyptian, like, again, religious people are just morons. So I said this person is I'm not sharing. Oh, my bad. Oh, my bad. My bad. I X'd out of it already. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for that. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I got you. Let me start sharing right now. Sorry, hold on. Yeah, let me start sharing right now. So basically, like I was saying, this is the obelisk in Washington, D.C., right? This is also, like, you see the reflection pool, right? So that's the obelisk, that's reflection pool. So I'm going to show the one in Egypt, and it's pretty much the same thing. See me, I'm physically doing it. See, that's the one in Egypt. And let me try to find the reflection pool. And I found it to be interesting. There's one in the temple of Hatshepsut. She is the first female pharaoh. It's Hatshepsut. She has a temple. I don't think it's the one in Dendra. I think it's a different one, but hold on. So right here, Google it. There's a reflection pool. You see all these places, these temples, they have the same, they got these reflection pools. So that's all George Washington was doing, right? Just trying to make a replica of Kemet, which is Egypt. That's all he was doing, right? No religious reason for it at all. Again, George Washington, the founding fathers, were secular. They weren't religious. Remember, the Europeans that came here, the pilgrims that came here, the Europeans that came here, they were fleeing religious persecution from the Catholic Church. So when they were in the creation of America, one of the things that they had to make sure that the state shall have no religion. Thou shall be free of religion, be able to practice your religion and religion or lack of their religion, but they shall not be a religion. A religion should not govern the state. This is not a theocracy. They're not gonna do what they did in England, right? So yeah, so like I said, these are Hebrew Israelites. Now, this is how far they take it. Now, I don't know. I hope not, because it's going to be a foot up somebody's ass. I don't know what my family member takes it this far, but this is what happens when you have the Hebrew Israelites. Now, this particular Hebrew Israelite, right, this is when if anyone knows who here in New York knows who ISPUPUK or whatever, who they are, they say a lot of crazy shit. They do a lot of crazy shit. But what I'm gonna show you right now, hold on. Yes, what I'm gonna show you another camp called GMS. So you got ISP UK and you got GMS, and you have Hebrew camps that had to admit this, but they don't like to admit it. They don't like to have that conversation. So let me show you this. This is how disgusting these people are and how bad religion is, because they think, oh, God said it, so I have to justify it. No matter what it is, I have to justify rape. I have to justify incest. I have to justify slavery. Mind you, as black people, the last people in the world that should despise slavery is black people. But the Bible does not talk down about slavery. In the Bible, it tells you how to treat a slave. It doesn't tell you that slavery is wrong. Matter of fact, inside the Bible, it says God's quote unquote chosen people that you are to enslave other people. Right? This moral Bible. But let me play this.
So let's move to the next thing. It's 2018.
No, y'all brought it
Children are being raped. Wickedness is happening right now.
Don't y'all hold?
It's gonna be rape in the kingdom.
Don't y'all hold to the rape doctrine? What do you mean? Like
There is a law that deals with rape in the Bible.
He just acted like rape was bad, but now it's okay.
I said it, bro.
To ask you a question.
Well, let me-
How many of you are fathers here? Just be for real. If you're a father. Now, what if someone is overwhelmed by the spirit of the Most High God, and he reads your scripture and he take your daughter and he just rape your daughter? What do you say to that? If he live like you live, walk like you walk, talk like you talk, because y'all live amongst each other.
Yeah.
Y'all live amongst each other. So what happens when one of y'all feels so overwhelmed by the spirit of God that when you see one of each other's daughters, you just grab her up? You gonna tell one of these brothers here, come on, you know the doctrine. You know how we get when you get.
Well, answer it.
We just told you that
How would y'all respond?
in this time,
We're not gonna let
that was
But if it did happen,
Hold on.
but if it did happen, you would allow it to happen. Why? Because you go back to the scriptures.
You're supposed to be a brother.
You hear that? If it did happen, it's okay. You gotta go back to the scriptures. These are some sick motherfuckers, man. These people need to be excommunicated out of the black community or any community, especially our community.
Hold on. You gonna allow one of your brothers to rape your daughter?
You say rape as if rape simply means to grab.
No. We talking about now. We read the verse. Where someone was.
In the kingdom of heaven, hey, look,
No. We read the verse, man.
when the kingdom is established, we're gonna get women when they 12 years old.
Right.
All right.
Say it again.
As soon as they start in the kingdom of heaven, when their period starts, that's when they become a woman.
Okay.
All right. So we're gonna deal with them when their period starts.
Right.
These dudes sound like the same dudes when you talk to Muslims and you talk about Muhammad betrothing what's her name? Was it Fatima? Fatima was like 9 or 10. And it was like, oh, it's okay, no, but it's Muhammad. It's okay. It was a different time because in the Quran it says that it's okay. This is what they're justifying. This is why religious people are dangerous, especially these people who have no shame. This is where it could take you. This is where when you believe in this bullshit, this is where it could take you, where you're justifying that it's okay for you to rape 10, 11-year-old girls because, oh, it says it in the Bible.
When their monkeys start,
Question.
have sex with them, have babies, man.
With 12-year-olds?
Brother, there's in the kingdom, we're gonna do that, man. We're gonna get them young. We're gonna get them young.
And the kingdom is coming on.
He doesn't sound no different from the slave masters, right? That had us here and that was raping children. But they black. That's what I'm saying. This is a white doctrine. That's what white people actually, and they were Christians. They Christianized us, right? They Christianized us. They're reading the Torah. They're reading the Bible. The Bible's the Torah. The Torah is the Bible. This is what they're doing. This is white ideology, right? So when they say they're not African, I'm kind of glad, even though they say that as a slant, but at the same time, how is their behavior no different from a colonizer behavior? You know, white people went in Africa almost everywhere where they went. They end up raping women and little girls. This is what they did. This is what they're known for. And here they are repeating, doing the same thing, but this is a black man's book. Solomon was black. David was black. All these people was black. We ain't African, but we black. They talking about here raping children. And it's okay because it's in the Bible.
Babies, man, with 12-year-olds. Brother, there's in the kingdom, we're gonna do that, man. We're gonna get them young. We're gonna get them young.
And the kingdom is
the kingdom is right here, but the Most High is gonna establish the kingdom, right? Don't look up in Google women that were pregnant under the age of 12. You got 9-year-old women that were pregnant. You got 11-year-old that were pregnant. Yeah. As soon as they get their period,
why they keep calling 9-year-olds women? This is a sick, twisted thing. They calling 9-year-olds women. That's like when Donald Trump was saying, like, hey, I'm gonna be dating her in 10 years. I'm gonna be dating that woman in 10 years. Or when he's talking about walking in on 11, 12-year-old girls at what was called Look at the Year on their yacht. When he was with Howard Stern, talking about, yeah, I could walk in on them because you can see these beautiful women, and me as a judge, I'm allowed to inspect them. Oh, gorgeous women. These are children. They calling them women. They calling 11-year-old girls women. This is sick. This is sick. And this is why I shut my mouth when it's people in my family, because they're not gonna like what I'm gonna say. Because they could call me whatever you want, but you know what they can't call me? A liar. And when you can't call somebody a liar and they pull your card, that's when bad blood starts.
They become a woman.
Google? Do you have Google on there?
On what? No, I don't have.
Yeah,
I can get it
do
on
you
my
have
phone.
Google on your phone?
So I wanted to show you guys that as an example, right? And there's another one where, again, if you guys know, if you follow this Hebrew Israelite bullshit, whatever, there is a group called ISP UK. There's a group called ISP UK, and the Hebrew Israelites. Now I'm going to give them a little bit of grace, even though they want to give me, an African, some grace. They do things like, for brothers that get out of prison, they try to rehabilitate them, put them back in society where they will be productive members of society. They do good work, and they have, but you gotta, adopt that Hebrew Israelite dog shit. That's the only problem. But they do that. So they have, like, in Harlem, they have a cookout. So they have this big cookout and everything that they throw for the community, and everyone has, and yada, 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 yada. So I'm giving you a backdrop to what I'm about to show you when it comes to this. So it says, no Africans allowed ISUPK annual cookout, right? Those, on July 25th, yada, yada, West Harlem, New York. So what Sonetter did, he had this little, and this thing like got me upset. I met Cesario because I was it was a while back when Polite wasn't locked up for, that's the funny thing. Polite is a pedophile, and he's getting on GMS about being pedophiles. Brother Polite, so-called Brother Polite, is locked up for pedophilia, but here at the same time, he's fighting GMS that they're pedophiles. Like, wow. Anyway, so Sonetta set it all up where he was talking to this African kid right here. He just, Sonetta was genius with it. He just had him talking. It was just him, young kid, just talking. They're agreeing. Everything is fine. And then the moment Cesariak finds out that he was an African boy, nothing but animosity. In a nice, fucked up way, but nonetheless, animosity.
You the young man. Let's say if I was the old one and I was persecuting your people, I didn't care about your sons.
I'm not gonna lie. If you was terrorizing my people when I was at a young age, when I get older, I would hate your people and you. I'm not gonna lie.
So this is hyperbole. This is just being, well, if this were to be true. he was saying, "Oh, I don't hate you because you're African, but because what you as an African did to my people, I can't really associate with you." So the kid is saying, "Well, yeah, if I grew up knowing that your people did something to my people, I will hate you too." Again, none of this is historically true at all, by a long shot, right? But this is what he's telling. This is what he's telling this kid.
If you was terrorizing my people when I was at a young age, when I get older, I would hate your people and you. I'm not gonna lie. If you was terrorizing my people when I was at a...
So again, this is bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Basically, the conversation they had, he's saw it as like, let's come to let's bring bring the brother to the cookout, and he's like, no, I'm not bringing. You guys were getting along, no, because he's African. This is where this leads to.
We say we don't deal with the Africans, but we don't deal with why we don't like Africans. So thank you. That's why we don't like Africans. So when we say we don't thank you, that's why we don't like Africans. So when we say we don't deal with the Africans, but we don't deal with white people, it's not because you're African. It's not because that person is white. It's because of the crimes that they committed against us, and we just want justice for that.
He says, not because I hate you. This makes no sense. He's double saying I hate you, but it's for the crimes and injustice that you done to my people. This nigga is talking about something that a historical event that happened almost 2,000 years ago, over 2,000 years ago, over 2,000 years ago, over 2,000 years ago. Did I read you in the Bible that shall not abhor an Egyptian? This happened in Egypt. That brother didn't say he's Egypt. He's just African. But okay, Egypt's in Africa, so all Africans are responsible for that. That kid is not Egyptian. He's West African. But he hears African, he correlates that to Egyptian. Oh, you're my enemy. Again, anti-black. They say they're black, but they're not black. They're closer to a white man than they are to an African.
White baby?
No.
So if there was a little white baby coming by and he was hungry, would y'all feed the white baby?
No.
But there was another time where I had to do a lot of digging just to find this. There was another time where Tazariak and Hebrew Israelites say they are closer to the white man than they are to Africans. To the point where they got white people in their camp. Dude's not Puerto Rican. They got a white dude in their Hebrew Israelite camp. White as snow. White as snow. But I think because it's a whole other thing that you are, if you are from your father's seed, then that's who you are. So even, let's say the dude is a mulatto. So let's say the father was black and the mother is white. The fact that his father is black automatically makes him black. It's in the Bible. So that's what they do and that's what they think and that's what they follow. It's freaking retarded. So like I said, there was a time where he was saying that, there was a time saying, we're closer to the white man than we are to the African.
Brother, if I bring my brother with me to the cookout, can he get in with me?
No.
If I bring my brother, this is my little brother. If I bring my brother with me to the cookout, can he get in with me?
No.
If I bring my brother, this is my little brother. If I bring my brother with me to the cookout, can he get in with me?
No.
People and you.
So you see how damaging that is? So these are people that are supposed to be working in the community, but they ostracizing other people from the community due to a religious doctrine, spewing hate, right? And then when something happens to them, they go, see, they hate us, just like the white supremacists. We know you're hateful, right? But then now when black people do something and speak against you, right, or defend ourselves, see, I told you them niggas is no good. This is the game that he's playing. He's playing the victim. And he's trying to put people that these people are the aggressor when they're the real aggressors.
I'm not gonna lie. If you was terrorizing my people when I was at a young age, when I get older, I would hate your people and you. I'm not gonna lie. If you was terrorizing my people when I was at a...
Bring my brother. This is my little brother. If I bring my brother with me to the cookout, can he get in with me?
No.
If I bring my brother, this is my little brother. If I bring my...
that pissed me off. That really pissed me off, right? And then much later on, you know what I'm saying? You talk to Captain Tazariak about that, and this is pretty much his sentiments. This is pretty much the sentiments. As Captain Tazariak explained why he's not African and wouldn't feed the African boy. So that's the name of the title. That's on his YouTube channel or whatever. And I'm going to play like 10 seconds of it because the end pretty much puts everything in perspective.
But ask the Nubians if they was connected to the Kemites. Hell no. Ask the Africans today if they connected. Hell no. We ain't African. We ain't black. I ain't feed no African because I love black people. Shalom.
Come on, man.
That right.
I'm not feeding no African because I'm black. Again, what version, where, if you're, I don't know, my head is spinning right now. Where are there black people outside of Africa in the region that the Bible speaks about? What people were considered black that aren't Canaanites, that aren't Hamites, that aren't Edomites? Where are those, according to your book? Where are the people that look like Africans in Asia Minor, right? That are black people that look like you and me that aren't African. That's what Sonda needs to ask them. It's fucking stupid. To them, it's a hustle, it's a money thing, whatever. I do think a good majority of them believe in the nonsense, but it doesn't make any sense. So this is why I am saying why I did this video of how damaging and why I do not like religion. A Pan-African or anyone that's pro-black would not be a Christian, would not be a Hebrew, would not be a Muslim. Because the basis of all these religions is the Torah, is the Pentateuch, right? Which is the first 5 books, whatever, of the Bible. And they share all these sentiments, right? Like, so Christianity, it will just be the New Testament to the original 5 books, which will be the Old Testament. The Quran will be the New Testament for Ishmael, according to my stupid family member. Will be Ishmael, that'll be their New Testament to the Torah, but their basis is the same, and the basis is what the Hebrew Israelites pride themselves on. They pride themselves on those books because they say, okay, this is the foundation, which they do have a point. That is the foundation of all of those other religions. Now, it's the link is in the chat if anybody wants to come up. Those are the Hebrew faith is the foundation to those religions. So they feel that, you know, they have a bit of an edge. They do have a bit of an edge, but at the same time, that just proves my point that if the foundation of your spiritual system is poison and disinformation and anti-blackness and anti-Africanness, no wonder people just the Dom society and white supremacy just fold their hands. Like, okay, these is niggas that hate niggas. Okay, they ain't half bad. They can't be half bad. They're niggas that hate niggas. They talking bad about Africans. Okay, I don't like Africans either. This is why they're allowed. This is why they're allowed to thrive. This is why they're allowed to do what they want to do. So when I hear them say things like that and about black people and stuff like that, I know. I physically met Tazariak, right? During one of the debates that he had with the other Pan-African brothers. They were talking about, you know, the validity of Kemet and the greatness of Kemet, and they were saying Kemet is not great, yada yada yada, and why black people, I think it was which doctrine or system is better for black people, you know, the Kemet or Israel. I think it was pretty much like that. And I'm not tuning my own horn here. It was to the point where even after During the debate, it was very interesting. I was next to a couple, right? It was a black man, black woman. They weren't Negroites, right? And it was crowded. So I was standing up. Next to them. They had other Negroites standing up. So I forgot how it started, but the woman was saying, talking to another Negroite, saying, but you shouldn't do this, or why is that? She said something to him. It wasn't threatening or whatever. It was pretty much based on what was going on in the conversation that they were having. And I think he answered her once or twice. Then like the second, third time, he looked at her and said, "Where's your man? Where's your man? You shouldn't be talking to me. You're just a woman. Where's your man? If you want to talk to me, you need to talk to me through your man." And dude was like, "What?" And she just went off. She was going crazy. She's like, "What? Talking about I'm my own person?" Why? Because they're sexist. You know what I'm saying? They're it should not be a surprise that women are second-class citizens in the Hebrew faith, in Christianity, and in Islam. They're all second-class citizens, right? Again, even like these red pill dudes and manosphere dudes, when you check them on their spiritual system, they'll say, I even hear people in my family say that. I say, yeah, you can say that now. Tell your wife that. I want you to tell your wife, okay, I'm ahead of God. No, wait. God is ahead of me. I'm ahead of you. That's the system of how everything is. I speak to God. God created you second. You talk to me. So if you want, it's craziness. What's up? What's up, bro? What's up, Buana? What's up, brother?
What's up, Kofi, man? You have me cracking up right now. You have me cracking the hell up. You have to go at the Hebrew Israelites today, and I think that it's a well-warranted discussion, well-warranted conversation. And he touched on a lot of bases. One of the things that you didn't mention is when Tazariak went on this interview, and this white interviewer was interviewing him. And you should see how buddy and chummy he was during that interview. I don't know did you have the opportunity to see that?
Yo, when I was looking for stuff, it was Adam. The guy name is Adam 20-something. Adam something I saw one with him by himself, and I saw one with him and Tariq.
Yes, and he did another one. And because he was explaining his doctrine. For some reason, these bigger platforms are platforming these guys. Back in the day, they would never platform them or give them a public voice. You have to wonder why that's happening. You know, because they understand the American government understand the philosophy and the doctrine of the Hebrew Israelites. In fact, they probably even created it. But that's a whole other conversation.
Nah, it was a black guy that crafted Rabbi Bivens. I see his face. Okay. But it was created in New York, and it was created by I think someone from the Caribbean, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Was it always anti-African though?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm watching this stuff, man, and I'm saying the contradictions are insane. Because how could you say that you wouldn't mess with a young African guy because what his lineage did? But your boss is probably a white man. You go to work every day, working for a white,
and probably eat with that white man in the break room.
Eating him in the break room. You show up at 9 o'clock early in the morning. You help his business. You work 30 years, giving him 30 years of your life to his business, and his ancestors treated you way worse than this African guy could ever treat you in your lifetime.
It's an African child. If you saw the beginning of it, because Sana had set up, they were just having a conversation, and Zara's like, "Hey, well, I'm talking to a kid." He's like, "Nah." Sana had set up in a nice way. They were just agreeing, and Sana exposed how hateful he is. Like, "Yo, you guys were just having a good, meaningful conversation. We about to go to this cookout. Why can't we go to the cookout? Oh, because he African." And then you saw the kid's face, and he felt the way, like, "Oh my God, this is insane." And as a father, you know what I'm saying, I would not do that to a child. Even if I don't like where your parents are from, you could be a white boy and your parent was a Nazi or a KKK. As a little kid, you a little kid. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna do that to you. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be honest, but I'm not gonna be to the point where say, chastise you for what your parents done. Me and you are having a conversation and we're good. You know what I'm saying? So I don't care about what your people. If you're a different type of person, then you're just a different type of person. But you should have seen the backdrop to it. It's a child. That's the part that bugged me out.
Yeah, my thing is with Sanetta, I can't read the brother because he platforms them. He gives them a whole big platform because he really the majority of his platform now is Hebrew Israelite nonsense. So it's like you know better, but you still permit them on your show for money. You know, I understand the bottom line is cash flow, but I mean you platforming these guys, knowing these guys are creating a bigger wedge within the black community than anyone. You know, it's like him and Tariq. Sanetta platforms. He's another thing too with Sanetta. Sanetta has enabled a lot of pedophiles under the House of Consciousnesses. I gotta put that out there, brother. Because really, if you were to go down the line, we could do that. I'm trying to besmirch the man's name, but he has platformed a lot of men who are problematic when it comes to younger people. Let me put it like that.
Yeah, no, we can say it like what the hell? It's old news. Like Polite, like I said, Polite is there checking a Hebrew Israelite camp called GMS. There was one that's saying it's okay to rape children and little girls and
Nature Boy. Yes, sir.
And Polite is doing that.
Polite
and
Hebrew Israelites. I'm telling you, man, he is extremely problematic in this genre because he's introducing a lot of people to the black conscious community without properly vetting them. I see it times, and I feel
I agree.
Yeah, some of these I like. Brother Jabari don't have nothing on his jacket so far, you know, because
my Guyanese brother Jabari, yes,
yeah, Guyanese Bahamian brother. I give him credit for that. But my man, what's the guy who used to the bald head guy with the patch on the side?
Shaka Utmost.
Yeah, he has some things in his jacket. So I'm saying to myself, bro.
They were saying he's gay. They were saying that he was gay.
No. He has some worse things in his jacket. I am gonna put it out there. But whoever want to do that research, do the research. You know, if I'm wrong, you know, please forgive me. But I'm saying that he is. You have to be careful who you platform and allow to come on certain because he have like 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 people listen to him at a time. Where's the responsibility, bro? You should have You shouldn't have anyone on your platform because you are vouching for them. That's how I feel. You are vouching for them. So when you have Hebrew Israelites on your platform who say these anti-African things, and also these things what could be perceived as these guys enjoying the pedophile lifestyle, then you can't wipe your hands and say, I had nothing to do with it. I just was providing the platform. Come on, bro.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree.
I mean, I see what you're saying at the same time, but it's like, I understand, brothers, keeper, you platform these people, but you know, it's not like they're applying for a job and they had to be vetted and stuff like that. Like because I was like, damn, son, like you didn't know you hung around with this. He was like, hey, look, I hung around with the dude, but I wasn't like all up in his house all the time, knowing what's going on. And I don't think, say what you want about Sanetta as far as like his business practice stuff like that, but me personally speaking, I don't think that's something he would know and turn away from and, you know, turn a blind eye to. Personally speaking.
I disagree with that. I think that he knew some things about his mind, and he remained quiet. He saw some things going on about his mind, and he remained quiet because he was getting money from him. And I think that on that particular point,
no, Polite was a cash cow. He was a cash cow.
Sure, but he knew some things, and he even said it sometimes when the rubber met the road, and he was trying to justify. He knew some things, but he remained quiet because Polite was a cash cow, just like a lot of these other characters. So I'm saying to myself, bro, I understand where you're coming from, but I on that particular point, I disagree. I think that he do have some responsibility for who we bring before the people. I really feel that way. You know,
that's okay. I'm not gonna down that. That's how you feel. That's how you feel. I'm not gonna defend it or you know, undermine it. Like it is what it is, because it's just not a good look. I do understand Sanetta. He brings certain topics and certain people together, and stuff like that, to provoke thought and challenges and debates. I've been to his debates. I've seen Sonetta in real life back in the day. I haven't been to Harlem in a minute. Like, you see him out right there, he'd be right out there. He's not a hard person to find. I saw Shaka Utmost in real life. They all hang out within like a 2-3 block radius from the Apollo. Like, I was in front of the what building that is on the next block? The Colin Powell building, right? Colin Powell building. I forgot the name of that street is. I bumped into Shaka Utmost there. Me and my friend, we were up there. We were like, yo, let's go see Sonetta. We got asking some questions, or they sometimes be out there just debating. You know what I'm saying? Like in the early 2000s, like 2015, 16, bro. I was out there.
Yo, Kofi, the thing with Sonetta, they develop a real like strong following worldwide. I mean, they had a lot of black folks listening to them, and I don't know what it is. Maybe because they're a bunch of street dudes. But they blew a crazy vibe because people was following Brother Polite. Like, people was on Brother Polite, man. People was on a lot of these characters. Shaka Amos. You remember when they had them big debates with the Hebrews and stuff?
I used to be at them.
Yeah.
I went to at least like 3 of them.
It's crazy. They blew a big vibe. But at the end of the day, it comes down to desperation. They're trying to get money quickly. These street dudes, so it's like, you got to think on a certain, you have to think like,
but to be honest, Sonetta was been doing this way before YouTube. Sonetta has been doing this since like the late 90s.
Really?
And he said it before,
wow.
where he was to be selling like Bobby Hemmett, Dr. Clark, all like videotapes, VHS, not even DVDs. This is back in the days, and he got clips of that. Of him back in the day selling that on Harlem. People was like, yo, you just step your game. And they got this thing called YouTube. You can do this, you can do that. You get out there. So Sonetta been doing it.
Okay. No, it's cool.
Yeah, he's been out there for more than 20 years.
Oh, he's entrepreneurial. I respect. Hey, man, as a business person, as a person who came from where he came from and developed his business, I respect that side of that. As far as the business practices,
it's another story.
But everybody gotta eat. Everybody gotta eat. You know what I mean? So you gotta justify it for yourself. But is one of your family members One West? Because you seem to be like big on this issue.
No, it's a family member of mine that's married into my family. And the person was never that. He was more of your average type person, not a very person. He's a party, the person's a party person. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
They know what's the latest thing, stuff like that. They're not a well-read person.
Yeah.
But the first book they probably read on their own without being in school was the Bible. So they gravitated towards that because their friend gravitated towards that. So
now he's all knowing, being in one way.
Yeah. And then so I'll see the person, he'll call me, hey Hamite, and I say, what's up, goat herder?
He call you Hamite?
Yeah. I say, what's up, goat herder? You know what I'm saying? And then I start, but see me when I go in, then they get personal. They're like, oh, come on now. Why you gotta say that? You know what I'm saying? So I pretty much use it against them. You know what I'm saying? I pretty much use it against them. So I was like, so I spit a scripture and it's like, oh, so you saying women should shut up, right? Women should be silenced, right? I was like, I said, go tell my mother that. He's like, stop playing. Like, nah, you believe in the bullshit, right?
But most of these dudes is Christians anyway. I don't even know why they still say it. We Christians.
But see, that's the weird thing. With these camps, you got Old Testament Hebrews and New Testament Hebrews. You got the ones that, yes, I'm a real Hebrew Israelite. I don't believe that Jesus is the resurrection. Is the Messiah, right? So those are just Old Testament Hebrews. Then you got the Hebrews that are really Christians that, yeah, I'm a Hebrew, I'm an Israelite, and I believe in Jesus. Like, well, that makes no sense.
Oh, bro,
that means you're a Christian.
Coach, we got this Mississippi Hebrew Israelite about to come on to espouse this Mississippi Hebrew Israelite beliefs. I'll let him talk, bro.
What's up, brother McCary? What's up?
What's going on, man? You know what? I hit that link and probably shouldn't have. I'm out here spending money with black folk.
There you go.
So give me
I
a,
commend you for
give me
that.
a, and let me stay on here. Give me a couple of minutes, man. I'm about to leave out this store in a second. I'm sorry, I hit the link too early because I do want to talk about some of the things that you were talking about.
Okay.
Just give me a couple of minutes. I'm about to leave out.
Okay. No problem. Yo, Buana, I need you to do me a black favor.
Yes, sir.
Can you please share your opinions about Sonetta or whatever for about a minute? I gotta step away. I don't want dead airtime. And by that time, probably Brother Macquarie will be back.
Okay, no sweat. So I think that Sonetta was a good. He was he used to be an asset and still is to some degree, because he still invites on some pertinent people like Brother Bakari, who is historical, backed up by facts. He still has very informed people on his shows, but I do know and understand that there are some financial realities that exist, and unfortunately, with our people, we like to go with what is. So they people carry a lot of sway with our people, and I think that Sonetta uses that or leverages that to make money, to pay his rent, and to feed his family. So I understand that, and what we could get away with, we get away with. So he tries to mix in a lot of good information with unfortunately with the missing information out there, understanding that our people are drawn towards that. But that is something that we have to be able to balance out within our own community. We have to love good information and proper information more than we like mystery, good stories, good storytelling, and a good stupid ass argument or debate. I think that we need to get back to that. You ready? Okay,
Yeah, I don't know if Brother Macquarie is back yet, but now
I'm back. I can talk for 2 seconds. I can talk for a
yeah, go
minute.
ahead.
But look, man, I had sent you that video, and I didn't even know you was live yet, and asked you to listen to it. And it was what's going on, my brother? It was the FBA leader trying to go in on the Jamaican, but what you was talking about at the end, it was like 3-4 minutes when 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 that coon was sitting there talking to the white boy, talking about how he hate Africans, and we don't understand how we play. See, and I don't even like to use the term, but I use it so people can understand how we play into the hands of white supremacy, right? Because you can set that. Excuse me, how y'all doing? You can set that with that white boy on Adam, whatever the dude name.
Yeah.
You can sit there on his panel, and your goal is to embarrass other black people as if what you're doing is so great. And you looking at a book allegedly 3,000 years old, right? And I know I got another friend who would say the same thing. Like, I give them credit, help people out of prison. You want me to tell you why I don't give them credit for that? Those same people that are out here talking about they helping people out of prison, and I ain't knocking nobody who been in prison, because shit, my stance was the same when my oldest son was locked up, right? But how many of those people, if you tell them your son to go to college, they have a problem with people going to college? But we always looking to try to help. And just because you went to prison, that don't mean you downtrodden. But they ain't gonna help nobody out here in school. We have all those programs. And I've asked several times, and I know I don't have a big channel. Like, let's create something to help our kids in college. Let's help them. Let's create a program, put some money, and we can start sending it to our kids in college with some of the things they need while they are in school. But you can get you a 501c3 and go and say you got a prison program and make you some money from the same people you're claiming that you hate. I won't give nobody like that dude and the leader of them. I won't give them credit for nothing. That's just me. But
Yeah.
The same people they claiming they hate, that's who they's begging for 501c3. And when you bring them out, how you helping them? You bring them out, tell them to go dress up like Show Enough.
Show
Enough. And stand on the street corner and cuss out everybody, especially that black person, if he say he's African. And I know the video you're talking about, what Tazariak said, because he said it multiple times, that they are much closer to the white man than they are to African people.
Yep.
Genetically. And I know that white boy I've seen that white boy who's part of their little organization, part of their religion. He stand out there and call black women B's and H's.
Yep.
Stand out there and call black men the N-word, and they co-sign it because he say his granddaddy or great granddaddy or something like that was black.
Was black. And like I said, I explained that according to the Bible, they're so anti-woman. They say you are of your father's seed. So if he said if his father was black or his grandfather's black, then they just consider him black. The mother could be white as snow. And do right here. I don't know if you can see my cursor. The dude,
Nathan and his goat.
Dude right there. That's the dude. White dude. Every time people come to the camp, the Hebrew Israelite camp, that's like, yo, what's this white boy doing here? That's him right there.
Captain Cockazak or some ish like that.
Yeah, Cockazak. Yeah, Cockazak. Yeah, Cockazak.
See, I come on here and I talk and some of the things, but for the most part, the things that you are talking about and the way we act and treat one another, that's why I've been away from. That's why I've been away from. So what? I ain't done a live, what, about 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
I don't even know if I had
for you on Fridays, because you definitely go in on Fridays. Like, oh, you ain't doing nothing on Friday. All right.
I don't have the energy or the patience anymore, because our goal, what you're doing is exposing, right? If those brothers come to us now and say, you know what? We was wrong, my bad. We'll rock with those folks, right?
Yeah.
But we can't go to them right now and they'll rock with us, though.
No.
What you eating, Brother Wakai? What you eating?
My bad. I ain't even supposed to hear me eat.
Hey, what you eating? Hog maw or something like that?
I don't eat pig, man. Now, them hog maws used to be good.
What you eating? What you eating? Possum?
I went to Great America.
Stop being a foundational Bahamian American, man. Stop it.
I went to the black on. I went to the. You ever heard of the Great American Cookie?
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, I went. I bought me a. I bought me some pretzels with cinnamon on it, and got me some honey mustard.
Oh, that's auntie things over here.
Okay.
Yeah, this black on right here. But I'm gonna put it on my channel.
Okay.
These 3 businesses that I went to that's black on.
How is it that this white gentleman, this white man, is able to go into Harlem and call black women bitches and nobody approach him?
Because he got a bunch of black coons surrounding him to protect him, because he's one of them. He's one of them.
The one thing Polite did was check him about that, and they wanted to jump on Polite. Remember that?
Yep. Well, it's Polite and Minister Inky.
Two scammers.
Inky.
But they tried to get him about that.
Because white people, they got like a sulfur smell. And I'm standing right here and I smell the sulfur coming from his white pores. And he be disciplined. He's disciplined. They'll make all the white jokes and he'll sit there with a straight face and don't react at all. He is disciplined, but they used to get him
because he's scared. Because he's scared.
Yeah, he could be scared too, but he got Tazariak and all them over there. Like Tazariak is like the tallest dude. Like I saw, this is me booting my own horn, but I saw
Adam and Wack.
Hold on. I saw Tazariak because people say, yo, Tariq tall.
There you go. That's what I hear.
Me, I'm a little bit taller than Captain Tazariak. Captain Tazariak is way taller than Tariq Nasheed. It's way taller than Tariq. People say, yo, Tariq 6'6". I'm like, you lying. Like, Tariq is not that. Hold on, I'm trying to get like a side by side. Like, Tariq is not that tall. Look how big Captain Tazariak is, and look how big Tariq is. I'm a little bit bigger than Captain Tazariak, just a little bit. I probably might be the same height as him because I've seen him like 2-3 times. You know what I'm saying? Gave him dap everything. You know what I'm saying? Tariq is not that tall. Tariq 6'7". I'm like, no, he not. He a 6'7" bitch. Like all he do is run away. He be running away.
Oh.
What 6'7" dude be walking around with bodyguards all the time? Like, come on now. You're not even in the hood. You got like bodyguards going to courthouse messing with Brandon's short, pudgy hobbit ass. You got bodyguards. I'm like, kind of bitch nigga is this? Like, what? Nah, anyway. I just wanted to say that. I didn't mean to derail the conversation.
The interview is by Julian Dore with Tazaria. Julian Dore. That's the interview where he was really clowning and dancing. It's crazy.
Yeah, but they're more closer to the white man. So I it's like Tariq. Where Tariq would talk bad about Africans and all the time. You know who he wouldn't talk bad about? Going Mexicans, Hispanics, and white people. Definitely, because one time, yeah, because one time I think he said, "What was this guy?" I forgot the guy. Some local Hispanic Mexican dude out there was calling him like a coon. He's like, "You're a coon," and da 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 da. And he was like, "Yo, don't you talking trash about me?" Whatever. Tariq didn't say shit. After that, he didn't say anything. You didn't want those essays after you because they're gonna do something to you.
Yep. This is the thing, right? We are the people. We accept disrespect so well. And sometimes that's why I'm the one that accused of causing arguments, because I don't accept the disrespect. We accept disrespect so well. We only disrespect and want to go at one another. Remember when he was on the guy you were just talking about, the FBA guy, was on there with the white dude. I can't even think of the white dude's name. It don't make a difference. One of them self-professed Jared Taylor, some ish like that, right?
Okay.
Yeah, the white supremacists, they're the smartest people in the world.
Oh yeah. He was talking.
If you never saw that video, find it. Then listen to how he talked to this Jamaican dude. Then I've been looking for my one video. I think I accidentally deleted it. I know Bawana came on the panel. Bawana, remember I did the video FBA versus FWA?
Nah, I gotta see that. You deleted it?
Foundational
I must have accidentally did it. Foundation of Black Americans versus Foundation of White Americans. And they were sitting on the panel with them white dudes, and that white dude told them, "Want all y'all N-words just shut the hell up." Am I lying, Bawana?
Yes, that's
and they didn't say, and they Tariq, none of them. They didn't say a word.
What? Oh hell no! Someone by his ass would have got kicked. Someone would have been in jail or the hospital.
He didn't say a word. And I don't, but I'm gonna tell you something, man. I'm gonna say this, then I'm gonna listen. Bruh. When Bawana man Donald Trump say I had to give him to you, boy. I had to hit you. Donald Trump say
Bawana is reformed. He understands everything.
I know he is, because he said he was. But when Donald Trump say he loved the uneducated, I'm gonna tell you something, man. A book education is a book education, and I'm glad I talked to my son and his friends. You would be amazed at how many I have heard college graduate master degree students follow the stuff Tariq Nasheed say.
They probably follow Kevin Samuels too, for you know.
They probably did, but this, I'm telling you, man, I might have to do a lot tonight. I ain't been on there in a while.
The reason, go ahead, brother. Okay, go ahead.
No. That's it. Come in, because I want to do something. Because the ones that gonna come together like us, we gonna come together, and that's what we need to be. I'm being honest. This is good to do. We need this, and we need this. People need to hear this truth. Like our matron put in the chat about the one preacher. Our matron and Anthony put in the chat about the one preacher talking about just obey the police. In a sense, you can say understand that, because I want my child to come home. But then in the other sense, he ain't talking to kids. They're talking to black people. Basically, they're saying, accept your place.
Pretty much.
Black man.
The difference between a Tariq Nasheed or college university, the reason why he's able to convince so-called educated people is there's a difference between when you go to university, they teach you what to think. If you are trying to become a doctor or lawyer, they teach you These are the things you need to use to know how to be this particular thing. Sometimes the reason why Tariq Nasheed is able to convince a lot of quote unquote educated people is Tariq Nasheed is telling y'all how to think. And there's a difference because Tariq Nasheed is a ninth grade dropout, right? High school. So he had to learn some things on his own. He learned how to manipulate people, how to scrutinize people, how to come with have the best arguments, how to read outside of the curriculum. And this is what I tell black people always learn how to do. It's not with the fact that the university teachers or professors are telling you, or high school teachers are telling you. You have to learn and understand the world on your own. With some of the things. That's why self-educated people sometimes are more powerful and potent than people who are just well trained, because they are thinking beyond what the curriculum teaches. And this is the difference between a character like him. See, so if you are, and another thing too with our community is, if you don't have a mission or a purpose or a goal in life, someone who has that will always dominate and control you, because that gap that was missing for what you have in terms of a sense of self-direction. Someone who is self-directed will always guide you in a direction they want you to go. And some of our people don't have a sense of self-direction on their own. They don't think for themselves. They are being taught how to think. You remember when Donald Trump started running on with shithole countries? Yeah. And you started hearing even black people talking about shithole countries. You pirating information from a friggin' white supremacist because you have not been taught how to think. You know what I mean? So I think that for people who know better, they can say, "Oh, wait a minute. All these countries ain't shithole countries. I don't live in a shithole country. Matter of fact, many Americans want to come here to live. Many billionaires
or vacation.
So if you or have second homes here. So if you have the ability to process on your own and think for yourself, you say, "Oh, wait a minute, that don't sound right. That's stupid. That's ridiculous." But if you have no sense of self-direction, if you don't know how to think for yourself, which is very important in this day and time, shysters like Tariq Nasheed or Dr. Umar Johnson will always convince you of things because they are self-directed. And their direction is flex bank account, FBA, flex bank account. It all goes to flex bank account. He'll make you, he'll convince the most backwards black person, the most uninformed black person, that they invented air solely off of the point that they was born in the United States of America. Make him feel good. Make him feel good, and then direct him to buy my orange juice if you want to feel better. Buy these hidden color 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 to further prop up your delusions of grandeur, because it all goes to flex bank account, FBA. And I'm saying that he's directed, and some people need to learn how to think on their own. Kofi, I've been running on. I'll leave it, brother.
No, you hitting a lot of points, because I saw a video on Afro Think Tank. He was saying, and I've been noticing that. Notice how you got none of these FBA dudes, the ADOS, the Freeman. You don't hear shit about reparations because they have nobody to blame on. They're not going to go to Donald Trump and say, "Where's our reparations?" They're quiet like church mouses. They got nothing to say.
Donald Trump will arrest them. They are most of these. Donald Trump, what do you do? Donald Trump's taking funding away. Let me take this funding away from the museum. Let me give January 6ers. We're gonna give them reparations.
January 6ers reparations.
We give them reparations. Shit. We're gonna take away Dr.
And they're not saying anything. And then
let me
say anything. That's the crazy thing.
But y'all know why? Let me tell you something. The underlying thing that y'all miss. Let me tell you why they ain't gonna say nothing. Because when they arguing at a Democrat, they're not arguing with white people. They are arguing at black people. They scared of white people. And I don't care who here, and I don't care who. They are scared of white people. They know most black people vote Democrat. They are not fighting white people. They are fighting black people. That's why. That's why when they scream in you ever notice whenever they scream reparations, they always got to mention a black Democrat and these black Democrats all the time. And these black people, I don't know what they voting Democrat, because they're not fighting white people. They are not trying to fight white people. The only people they are trying to fight is black people. So yes, they are afraid of Donald Trump. And when Bawana said something about parroting Donald Trump, right? And one of the things, like I told Kofi, and I talked to Koku and told him I ain't been around. Like, I can't sit on a panel with nobody or be around them. Yeah, Donald Trump doing more for black people than Martin Luther King ever did. Like, that literally came out of Donald Trump's mouth.
I think when he was talking about Mark Robinson, like Mark Robinson's the
No, Donald Trump said himself, I have done more for black people than Martin Luther King ever did.
Yeah,
when he said Mark Robinson, he said Mark Robinson is like Martin Luther King on steroids.
Yeah.
And then they want to say, but no, I can't, because we constantly look to fight each other. They are afraid. They're afraid of that. Like Bawana say, Donald Trump will arrest them. They are afraid of what's going to happen. So who's the
send naturalized citizens of fucking El Salvador? So
yeah.
shit.
If you
who's the easy target? Who's the easy target in America?
Us.
Black folk.
Yeah.
So if black folk want to attack an easy target, who are they going to attack?
Their own people.
Exactly. And they do it all the time. All of the time. And when you mention it, that's why we repeat so much of what they say. I've heard, I ain't gonna say, because I don't want nobody to think I'm trying to issue on nobody and they ain't around. But I heard somebody tell Coke, oh man, y'all lost. I'm like, goddamn, but he sound like Roseanne Barr. They did a whole damn song. Shut up, y'all lost. With her cornrow in her head, with her weave, braids hanging down her back, with a white dude rapping, shut up, y'all lost. Did you ever see that song, Kofi?
Nah, I haven't.
Oh, they got a whole song when Donald Trump won, mimicking black people saying, shut up, y'all lost.
Nah, I did not see that shit.
Yeah,
whoa. I'm still stuck on Tariq Nasheed and a white dude saying, shut up, y'all niggas need to shut up. I need to see that. I gotta see that. That'll make my month.
No, but when Brother Bakari see that black people are afraid, Brother Bakari was a military man, okay? Brother Bakari he perceived things differently. It's a legitimate fear. Now, he wasn't doing this at the time, but it's a legitimate fear when the so-called most powerful man, because he have the U.S. Army behind him, could take you up off of the street and send you to freaking El Salvador prison. Anybody. Matter of fact, I think that when Donald Trump says, yeah, I need to start sending U.S. citizens, I could send U.S. citizens, the people who knock people over the head, the people who were robbing old ladies, he talking about regular street crimes. You notice he ain't never mentioned no white-collar crimes to send to El Salvador. No, he won't send who does that sound like? When knocking people over there, he's creating this narrative right now because he won't send who to El Salvador. So the black people know, and they say that, well, you know what, this mother effer might send you to El Salvador. That's a legitimate concern because this guy, America, for right or wrong, right now is in a constitutional crisis. They are in a constitutional crisis. The president of the United States ain't following the orders of the freaking Supreme Court of the land, and he say, you know what? I'm not bringing that dude back from El Salvador, and if y'all want him to come back, make me.
Yep.
Make me. That's what he basically said. Make me. So who's gonna force a man who is in charge of the U.S. military? Who's gonna force his hand? Who's gonna do it?
But see, if he's in contempt and he see the thing, he think he's a king. So the Supreme Court has jurisdiction of the interpretation of the law. So him just basically saying, well, I'm not going to do that. And other than that, as the executive branch, this is the law. You're the president. You're supposed to uphold the law and the Constitution of the United States. You have to implement this. It has nothing about, well, I'm the president. I don't have to do anything.
Who enforces it? Who's going to enforce it?
The Supreme Court.
No. You say that they legislatively they could write on a piece of paper.
It should be the legislative branch. It should be
the executive branch.
The Democrats. It should be the Republicans. But that's why he's kind of feel like, look, I got. Well, he doesn't have the Supreme Court, but he has all other two branches.
Yeah, but executive branch branch executes the law. They execute the law. Who is the head of the executive branch? Him. So when the police are policing the police, what do you do? When corrupt police officers are policing each other? Who do you go to, brother? This is why you're in a constitutional crisis.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. Like people like Mike Johnson, he's supposed to be the checks and balances that they had, especially that was just what Project 25 was all about, was basically trying to fill in those seats that are loyalists. So like the whole, when they say, hey, look, the administration made a mistake, right? And what was this freaking bald head guy, fucking weaselly guy? He was like, no, that was a Democrat in the FBI and we got rid of him. We did not make a mistake. I was like, what? And it's like, yeah, we got rid of him. He's the Democrat operative. No, the man's been the thing they're trying to do is that the FBI, the DOJ, there's not supposed to be a partisan. There's not supposed to be a partisan department. It should be nonpartisan, but they're making it partisan. Like,
right?
Oh, who you vote for? Who you vote for? They're not supposed to do that.
Yes,
they're not supposed to be your qualifications based upon who you voted for.
Yeah.
So they got rid of him. Oh, you voted for Biden and you voted for Obama one time. Oh, you no good for this job. Like, no, that's not how it works. That alone is unconstitutional.
Your country started to look more and more like my country every day. The man is running the country like a third world country, man. When I hear now they are gonna have a presidential birthday party, so they're gonna use the government. They're gonna use all the government, the military.
Yeah. He's supposed to be using.
This is a third world country.
He wanted to do that last time. He wanted that first time where he had the tanks out, jets out. This is again. He's supposed to be saving money. I heard it's supposed to cost like $100 million or something like that for his birthday party. At the same time, his birthday party is supposed to be. What holiday it was supposed to be? It was some holiday. It was supposed to be some government holiday. I forgot what the holiday was, but he's gonna chime onto that to be in his birthday party to spend all this money. Oh, it's my birthday too, and
they talking about government ways. But you know, but for me, here's the problem. For me, black people are unserious. We have become, and I'm not just talking about any particular person. I'm talking about black people in general as a group. We have become a laughingstock of the human species. We are extremely unserious until somebody hit you in your mouth. Something me and Kofi was talking about. This may have been a week ago. And I'm sitting there and I was talking to somebody and I constantly hear people saying it. Like when you mention what Donald Trump is doing, black people like to talk about what the other person is doing. So as I sat there, I thought about it. I say, so if me, now since you up here, this is why I'm saying your name, Bawana. So if me and Bawana and Billy Bob get in a fight, and Billy Bob is hitting Bawana in the nose, is Billy Bob gonna be concerned about John Boy might want to hit him in the nose too, or he gonna stop Billy Bob from hitting him in the nose? We concerned about, well, somebody else might want to do it too. So we have basically made it okay for this guy to say what he want to say about black people, for him to threaten Haitians, for him to sit there and say, black people relate to me once they saw my mugshot. We have made all of this okay, but then they look at me and Kofi and say, oh, y'all trying to use fear tactics. No, we're not. That's what Donald Trump said. This is what Donald Trump was. You can repeat him, but then they blame us because we're not serious. We are not serious until it happens to you. So then once it happened to us, now we want to be serious. Well, this is what we need to do. I'm not, well, see, now he's going to force us to work together. I'm going to be honest with you. Black people need to work together. I'm still looking for the folks that want to work together. I got my little crew here. We want to work with other folks, but I ain't trying to work with nobody where some white person told you with your slave mind that y'all need to work together, because it's not going to work because they don't want to be there. And I'm sorry if that offends people when I say that, but I'm not looking for those people who are white, who are white bigot, who hate your guts, had to make you say you want to work with black people because he won't accept you. He don't want you around. So that's me, because we're not serious. I'm serious about this. A guy told me one time, man, you're real serious. shit, you need to be serious too. This ain't no joke.
But
what black people going through is not a joke.
But Bakar, let me ask you a question. I'm gonna let Anthony go. But I understand what you're saying. People should come on their own, so their own sense to work together. But usually, when they see it coming and it's too late, they're gonna do it as a way of survival. Wouldn't that be just as good? You're getting the same result. They're working with me, but they're doing it out of survival.
Not for me, because I don't trust them. If they doing something out of survival, they could be sent by the people they need acceptance from to go tear this up, go cause confusion over here, and we'll look out for you.
Yeah, but it'll be I understand what you're saying, but that will undermine their own survival. If they're really doing like,
because they're figuring out a way to, because they want to be next to them, so they want to figure out a way to survive with them, right?
Oh, I thought you meant with us. I thought you meant with us.
Yes, but what I'm saying is the other people could send them to us and make them promises. I'll give you this biscuit. I'll give you a whole pan of cornbread. Now you go, because that's how it happens. See, well, and I'm gonna talk about this. I'm gonna try to do my show tonight. We have so much power, and these people are so afraid to say anything to this system. Target is losing so much money. They're begging black people now. So now they're reaching out to Al Sharpton. What can you do for black folks? Black people need to be hitting up Target. Al Sharpton don't speak to us. You need to come to the black community and tell us what you're going to do for us.
Yeah.
They're desperate now. But since they are so afraid of those other people, they ain't going to do it.
All right. What's up, Anthony? What's up, brother? Thanks for coming through.
Hey, what's going on, Copa? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Good form. And peace to everybody else on the panel. Hey man, look at I just got home, man. I mean, I just came from the store, man, and it came on, man. So I didn't even catch what the pro was about. But I mean, I caught what y'all was just talking about, though, man.
Well, basically, it was pretty much I was going in on religion. I had a family member here that's probably a Hebrew Israelite, and it was just a whole bunch of religious gobbledygook and nonsense, and pretty much I was going in the Bible and out the Bible, pointing out how anti-African and how anti it was. So one of the things that I'm very passionate about, you probably missed, if anyone knows, read the Psalms of Solomon. So he kind of put his foot in his mouth, and I kind of exposed to him because he was talking about the Arabs, and the Arabs had Ishmael. They were called Ishmael, and one of those people were called Kedar. So we read the Psalms.
Hey, Kobe, check it out. I mean, okay, I at the beginning of the show, I was here at the beginning, but I had to leave. But I'm talking about what you and Bakari was just talking about. That's what what y'all was just discussing. And I just wanted to add on one thing what I heard the brother say, man. For example, okay, like this here. Okay, let's say that you have, say you're a brother, say you're a serious brother, you out there doing the work, and like say you got family members, for example, like say your mom or any member of your family. You know what I'm saying? Now, for the longest time, they might have been on that, what we'll call on some coon shit. You know what I'm saying? Worshiping white folks, and and don't believe in none of that black, don't want to hear none of that black shit you got to say.
Yeah.
Okay, but just let's just say one day they get their Negro wake up call. You know what I'm saying? And say, man, you know what? Kofi was right. Brother Bakari was right. Whoever, they were right. What I'm saying is, okay, yeah, there can be some Negroes who they'll send to infiltrate. We call them Trojan horses. That could be that's a thing. But sometimes it's that your people just didn't know. And and you know how this education system in America, this public food system, and the whole American indoctrination, it done taught us so damn good. You know what I'm saying? To be the Negroes that we are, the ignorant Negroes that we are. You know what I'm saying? The slave plantation Negroes that we are. It done taught us so good that they just can't see that it could be another way. You know what I'm saying? And they can't see when they hear a brother like Bakari, coming with what he's talking about. Oh man, I don't want to hear, oh man, go on with that black shit. Go on with that. But you know what? At some period of time, everybody, a lot of us get our Negro wake up call. Look, Malcolm X was out there pimping hoes and all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And didn't give a damn about none of that. And even though he had some Garvey roots, but he was out there doing that and doing his thing, as a young man. But you know what? He got his wake up call. And I could think
of asking Brother Bakari. I'm kind of asking the same question. Let's say they got their Negro wake up call.
Yeah, I'm saying you can't. I mean, okay, I understand. You have to be careful and watch this person when they come back and make sure it's vetting. Because you don't want to let somebody in your organization or whatever you're doing, you know, and they there with another purpose. But I'm just saying, sometimes we also have to consider that, you know what, man? I finally realized I was wrong, man. I finally realized you was right. You know what I'm saying? And it took me a long time. Sometimes it takes 50 years. It take a long time for me to see, you know what I'm
Y'all
saying?
right.
For me,
You and Kofi
for me
right,
to,
Anthony. I don't mean to cut
yeah,
you off, but y'all right.
yeah, for me to see that I was wrong. You know what? I mean, let's think about it. Our parents, me and Bakar around the same age. I'm 58. Well, I know we in our 50s. Now, you know, we got grandparents and we got people in our family who you walk in that house, you better not say nothing about that picture of white Jesus on the wall. You know what I'm saying? You better not say nothing. If you come and tell them, like, well, you know, grandpa, whatever, you know, no, Jesus is black if you believe. You know, I don't believe in that bullshit anyway. But I'm just saying, if you said Jesus is black, or the Hebrew Israelite, stuff like that, you come with that kind of thing, hey, you know what I'm saying? They would look at you like, get out my house. You know what I'm saying? You better get the hell away from here. They under that old time religion. You know what I'm saying? Not our spirituality, that old time religion that they learned on the plantation. So what I'm saying, remember, it took 400-500 years to get a Negro to be a Negro. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna change overnight. You know what I'm saying? And all of them ain't gonna be saved. Yeah, and all of them ain't gonna be saved. You know what I'm saying? I just seen a Negro walking down, a youngster, man, walking down the street the other day. You know what I'm saying? Saying some of the foulest shit about black women. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And I'm like, man, your mama black. You know, that's what I'm thinking in my mind. You know, I mean, it's just all that old man, all that old black shit. You know, because I try to talk to some of them too. But all I'm just saying, and I'm gonna knock off. I'm just saying, we can't just throw them away. You know what I'm saying? All of them. You know, you got to vet them. You know, make sure that they right, that they in it for the right reason. But I'm just saying, we gotta. If we just throw it all away, you wild to throw away 90% of us. You know what I'm saying? Because 90% of us act like some house niggas sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But we ain't nobody teaching us. Look who teaches. We used to in rap. You know, we used to have pro-righteous teachers, and X-Clan had people who was telling the young people something. Now you got Sexy Red, Megan Thee Stallion, the baby, what his name for that mumble rap, all this Percocets and all this old bullshit. That's who teaching them now.
Yep.
No, we fail. Hey, I fail because all us as men fail, not us individually, but I'm saying our generation, we fail to go out there and knock them dumbass niggas upside the head and get their mind right. You know what I'm saying? And so now we see what we see, you know, and we can't I ain't saying because of it, but say we can't just blame them because you know what? We failed our goddamn job. And I'm standing on business. I'm one of the main ones. You know what I'm saying? And it took me, I got to go out here and try to redo this shit, man. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't want to go on too long, but I'm just saying we can't just throw them away, all of them like that. We got to be more, because you know what? At one time, as children, guess what? Mom and dad them seeing us and said, this boy ain't gonna be shit something. And they might have been thinking in their mind. You know what I'm saying? When we did dumbass shit. But you know what? They stuck on with us. They stuck in there with us. And guess what? We came out to be good, decent black men. I'll knock off right there.
Nah.
Hey, you know what? You're right.
Go ahead.
Let me say something. Or he. You know what? Anthony is absolutely right. And like I said, y'all was right. I understand what y'all saying. It's not the fact that I disagree. I don't disagree with what y'all saying. So I do agree. But my vet system gonna be hard as hell because they need to be vetted, man. Some of them need everybody need to be vetted. Myself, people don't. If you don't know me, vet me. I don't care. But Anthony is also right about when he say we fail, and I've said several times I'm part of it because I had one foot out there in the street and one foot of the stuff that I knew, and I listened to some of this music, and Anthony is right. You know, and Anthony he's absolutely right. I can have one foot in and one foot out there, regardless of what I know. If I ain't doing the things I know, and I can talk about the things that I know, then when you talk about them and try to show it, but man, but you do this, but I don't do this, and I don't do this, and I don't do this. But everybody, but you do way more than that. Okay, you're right. But so, and Anthony is right. So you know, you don't want to throw nobody away. You don't even want to throw. You don't want to throw our youth away today, or as some people call them, these YNs. But it's work we have to do in these streets for real. It's for real. We have to. I'm gonna show y'all something, right? Let me say this right quick, then you can go, Kofi.
Yeah.
When I think it was you and Bawana just mentioned about Donald Trump cutting the funding to like black museums. He want to get rid of everything black. He's taken 16.8 million, something like that, basically closer to 17 million and 16 million dollars away from FAMU pharmacy school. You know why he's doing it to FAMU? There's 5 black pharmacy schools. You know why he's doing it to FAMU? 60% of all black pharmacists graduated from FAMU. So he's gonna take from them.
He's also taking away from what's that that school, Columbia University or whatever, because he don't like what they're doing over there for us, because the government does give them funding and they don't like their stance on Palestine. You know, so he said he's going to take funding away from them, which is critical because most research and that's being done is done by universities and government grants. He's hurting himself by being racist. He's hurting the country by being racist.
But you're right. Now what? With FAMU, I told somebody the other day, I was talking to people from FAMU, we was online. I go on them HBCU channels and we talk. I was like, look, man, we talk about sports, you know, Anthony from Louisiana. So when he talk, he gonna be Southern. My son at Jackson State. If you hear us talk about football or basketball or something like that, we'll go back 20 years to see who done got the most victories over each other, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to something like this is way more important than that. And Anthony know that. I just used him for an example because I know he's from Louisiana and he likes Southern. And he know I'm from Mississippi and I like Jackson State. All these black people, you got a black pharmacy school where 60% of your black pharmacists coming from. If he take away, why can't we put $1 together? All of us put $1 together. Why can't we get 17 million people to put 17 million black people to put $1? $1 so that school can continue to do what it's doing. Just $1.
We're not out. Listen, we're not outnumbered. We're out organized.
Dr. Amos Wilson.
Yeah, out organized, because when you put it as simple as that, everybody got $1. Everybody got $1. You know what I'm saying? And if $1 is the minimum, we can't come up with $1. Yeah, this is a time where I am ashamed of being black, because we should be able to do that. We should be able to have certain programs and initiatives that we should be able to put it out. Like the other day, I'm at the gas station. I don't like going to this gas station, but there's always black people there, always begging. All right, fine. At least they say, hey, I want to pump your gas, right? Guy came up to me. He was like, hey, man, I'm hungry. So he didn't ask for money. He asked for, I'm hungry. I was like, you hungry? It's the mobile gas station. They got like the Burger King there. I was like, I can get you something from Burger King. He's like, yeah. Gave him food. You know what I'm saying? Gave him food. I have no problem doing that. I have more than enough money to do that. If I found something actually legitimate that could do that, like, well, all I gotta do is put like $3 and that's it. Like, look, I like what's going on with Carmelo Anthony, how everyone donated. There's also Afro Think Tank put something together. It was this white man in Florida, this black girl. She reminds me of my niece. Went to rang the doorbell, and the white man wasn't home, and saw on the Ring app it was a black girl ringing the doorbell. She was ringing the doorbell. She was selling Girl Scout cookies. He's going to take a screenshot of that and say, oh, you lucky I wasn't there. I would have shoot you and call her a bitch and everything. Girl is like 9. He scrapped his whole Facebook and everything and cop and please saying, oh, but I was going to get, I was scared because she was like a decoy. They probably had like black men in the bushes. Moment opened the door, I would have got jumped. I got a family, I got wife, I got kids and stuff like that. And they're suing them, and they're doing a GoFundMe for her. Want to donate to that. But yeah, we need a little bit more organization, and people like us that are not popular, that have small channels and things like that. It's not really gonna gain momentum. We need people like Jay-Z, Taraji P. Henson, and Beyonce, and people like that really don't give a fuck about shit like that.
I think that the just as Kofi mentioned earlier, that Target went to somebody like the pastor, I forget his name now.
Sharpton
to come to a quote unquote bargain arrangement. Target should really go to the pastor who actually organized that boycott to try to see whether he could change his mind and come to some kind of agreement. But I think that just as they would have done that, these black HBCUs are tasked with doing the same thing. They could go to popular people within the black community. Because how could you donate to something if you don't know that what Brother Bakari raised is 60% of black pharmacists is coming out of a particular HBCUs. Black people may have an interest in donating it, but they may not be aware to go to people who are platformed, who could speak on an issue. If Beyonce addressed one particular subject, hundreds of thousands of people would follow it, even millions. If she knew about it, and I think Beyonce would do it. You know, I think that if you were to go,
she know. The reason
I
know,
don't agree with
but the reason,
I don't agree with Kofi. You know how
you know why I know? Real quick,
you don't know
give me
everything?
3 seconds. You know why I know? Because her sister is extremely conscious, and then like a couple of years ago, she tried with this conscious music and all this other bullshit, which is just a phase. Like, bitch, I'm like, you're playing. It's a phase. She knows. Go ahead.
Okay. But okay, she may be conscious, but I'm talking about you don't know every particular black issue that is going to be like have a big effect with. Some people need to be made aware. But Beyonce is touring. I really don't know if she knows. And if she does, you know, if she don't want to do it, there are other people who people could appeal to and go and say, listen, we need you to do this. And black people are dumping it. Don't you know that if Carmelo Anthony within the black community could raise $400,000 for legal defense, because many people knew about that, then these other hot button issues, if they were to know about it, people will probably be willing to donate. Because I feel like the black people right now consciously are willing to open up their purses. They may not have been wanting to do that back in the day, but $400,000 for this particular issue, that's a whole lot of money. For coming from the black community, man, that's a lot of. This is what causing the white community to be very offended and afraid, because they never thought that the black community would have any consciousness to put their money behind what they feel on hard button issues. Now they doing it. Oh, they crying and all over the place. Like, I can't believe, you know,
exactly.
So
you guys are racist.
Yeah, you guys are because they are afraid of the black dollar is being directed in a conscious way now. That is a big fear. So I think that the black HBCUs need to go to right platforms to platform people who have the ability to influence a whole lot of people. Go to your influencers, man. Go to your influencers.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that's what it is. If it may hurt their career, they don't want to get too political. Now I understand when Malcolm X says, you know, musicians aren't black leaders, but I partially agree and disagree with that. You have, if you didn't have your Billie Holidays, your Nina Simones, there's your Harry Belafontes. These are people that are famous, but they put their career on the line and shed a lot of light on what was going on in America, what was going on with black people being disenfranchised. So I do believe that, but I believe that to an extent. You see what I'm trying to say? So yeah, we do need people. You don't have to be a musician or a movie star, but prominent people within black society, they should be highlighting this. So I commend Charles P. Henson talking about Project 2025 and things like that. That's what we need to do, you know, because that's a selfish act. Because Project 25 happened, the stock market goes up, people getting targeted. They could go to their whatever house they have in the state, out of state, it's not going to affect them. But if you think like, you know what, this is going to affect my people, and my people are my concern. You don't have a lot of courageous people doing that. And like Anthony McCall said, yes, Solange is Beyonce's sister. Very conscious woman, right? With her music, with her natural hair, not being blonde and all this other stuff. Her sister is very conscious. There was a phase at one time, Jay-Z and Beyonce, they went to Africa. They were being kind of conscious here and there. I'm like, this is fucking fake. It's a phase. It's gonna die. It's gonna die. You know what I'm saying? They're following the trend. It's gonna die. And where are they now? Where are they right now? You know what I'm saying? No one wants to put their career on the line. Do it in the background. People say Jay-Z and other people do things in the background, but yeah, again, we're just out organized. We're not outnumbered. So, Brother Bakari, you on? You want to say something before we go?
Well, we getting ready to go. I'm sorry about that, man. I had a phone call.
No, you good.
Thank you for letting me speak on your panel, man. What peace to the panel. I ain't speak to Bawana and Anthony in the chat, but before I'm gonna say we have to get serious, and we have to get to the point where I'm the us in general, nobody on this panel, we have to stop accepting disrespect. And I have come to the conclusion the reason that we are crazy because we try to be what we're not. Right? When you touched on that Christianity, those Hebrew Israelites are crazy. They're trying to be some people in the book. They're trying to be somebody in a book that somebody gave them, right? If you
Pretty
listen
much.
to other religions, yeah, that's the Abrahamic religious faith. Then you got the one of them, the Asiatic black man. And most people don't even know, most of those people don't ask them what Asiatic mean. They don't even know what Asiatic mean. Asiatic mean was people that was called Asiatic was people that was coming into Asia. Asiatic were outsiders. They were foreigners. That was an Asiatic. They were coming into.
You went out a little bit, Brother Bakari. Oh wow, you dropped or something. Yeah, basically picking what he said, Asiatic people. Talks about people who are outside from an African standpoint, where people that were outsiders that inhabited a particular geographical area called Asia Minor, which would be the Levant region, the Iberian Peninsula, yada yada yada, depending on what time, depending on what historical time frame you're talking about. There are different people that are different inhabitants, but way back, let's say probably around like 3,000 years or so, like that, it was mostly black people. Egypt controlled that region, so the Egyptians will call those people Asiatic, like the Hyksos. The Hyksos were considered Asiatic people. People from Mesopotamia, they were considered Asiatic people, the Asiatic type people. So these were like a mixture. They weren't African, they weren't black, and if they were mixed with something else. So they weren't black. So they were like your modern Cleopatra. Like Cleopatra, she was not black. She was a mixture. She wasn't 100% black. She was blackish, but from what I've read from scholars and what they're saying, she had a love for Egypt and Egypt's people, and she was the last person that was really fighting for African Egyptian people there. And then she married Mark Antony, yada yada yada. We all know the story. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I pretty much wanted to bring this out because I know I don't talk about religion a lot. It's not popular. It's not something that's glamorous or anything like that. But to me, it is something. Before, when I was a Christian, I was very, very, very religious. So one of the things that I came out of was religion that allowed me to explore history, to explore subjects that I thought was taboo. Because and that's our problem as people. We're not allowed to talk about things that are taboo. We're not allowed to talk about God. We're not allowed to talk about white people. We're not talking about marrying white people or dealing with white people or war or homosexuality. Like, that's our problem. There should be no topic that's taboo. We should be able to talk about everything through a black lens, through an African lens. We should not be afraid to talk about those things. So the fear that I had about questioning God, and you don't question God, you follow him. My mother can't be right. My grandmother can't be right. My great grandmother can't be right. Can't be wrong. They got to be right. So for me to question that, I'm questioning not either my faith, but I'm questioning them. So there's a fear there. But we have to understand why that fear is placed there. And why is my grandmother, great grandmother, my father, and all these people following that? Why? Does it belong to me? So that's why, to me, I think it's important to have these particular conversations. So you would have anything to say, Brianna? Yeah.
Yeah, sir. So I know you're closing. So now that we have addressed the Hebrew Israelite questions and the Christian questions, one would say, as a response, now we have to scrutinize, put the mirror up to your belief system. Because if you think about it, the Christians would say, okay, now I'm seeing Bes, which is an Egyptian god, right? So
yes and no.
Yes and no. Okay. But
Well, real quick, it's an Egyptian god, but it came from as far as like the Congo.
no problem. But it's still based in mythology, and some people
True.
would say spirituality. So
True.
now the Christian would ask, what makes what you believe or understand in terms of spirituality better? So the next argument, I guess maybe in the next um, episode that you have, we'll have to explain why the alternative in how you look at the world or your spiritual metaphysical worldview is a better or a much better alternative than what the grandmothers and the mothers and the old people back in the day, our Christian backgrounds believe in. Why is that better? So that's my challenge in terms of the discussion and putting it out there. Because the Christian would ask that. They would put the mirror up to you and ask that. Why is the alternative better? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. I totally understand, but I don't know if you caught, but I kind of addressed that a little bit, but I could do a whole topic about that. Like their belief system is based on anti. Yeah, go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Hey, I'm sorry, Kofi. Look here.
Okay.
I mean, I was listening to it. I was just gonna get ready to sign off until Buana came with that. Okay. I'm gonna tell you what the difference is. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna answer the question. This is what the difference is. The difference is our African traditional belief systems. Yeah, though some of them, though they are based in some areas on myth, like what he said, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. What I'm saying is, but the basis of the whole African traditional belief system is not. I mean, just not religion. But our spirituality is not religion. That's one thing we have. We have spirituality. They have religion. You know what I'm saying? And our African traditional belief systems were not religious. These were functioning ways of life, the way the community lived. These are the guidelines for the community. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know we don't have time now, but like on another show, Kobe, we need to talk about it so we could break it down. But I mean, African, whether from the Yoruba people or the Akan people or the Bakongo people, whatever group of African people, because because it's a cultural continuity among all of us. But what I'm saying, basically, these were the life guides. We have things like the Pondo and the Poro and the Sando societies of West Africa. You know what? These was secret societies where young men learn how to be young men and young women how to be young women. And all of it is tied to our traditional belief system, our spirituality. It's our community. Okay. And the difference between that, our spiritual systems, our belief systems, and the Abrahamics is that the Abrahamic religions are religions that are patriarchal. They want to suppress the rights of women. You know what I'm saying? In any Abrahamic religion, God don't have a wife. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Does not
God don't have a wife. And you know what? And a woman is degraded. You know what I'm saying? It's degraded on different levels. You know what I'm saying? And in that same religion, they always teach you to bow down on your knees and prostrate yourself and surrender your being and everything to this God out in the sky somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't, I kill you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we got to think about this God, these Abrahamic gods. This God, what even coming out that Bible, like that's why I say it's so foolish for us to be into those kind of religions. You got a God that told a group of people, get up, go over there, kill all these people over this land, kill all the men, women, children, kill the animals, burn everything up, and claim it for yourself. That's manifest destiny. That's what the white folks kept doing it everywhere they went.
Anthony, when you said that, that's the thing that kills me. When you read Exodus, God did all these things, and now it's time for you to get to the land of milk and honey. He's telling you to do it.
Yeah.
That was crazy to me.
Yeah, and I'm just saying. I mean, that's what I'm saying to Buana. That's what that religion teaches you, man. It teaches you that everybody else who don't believe how you believe is inferior to you. You know what I'm saying? These inferior people, these savages, these whatever, and you need to be killed. You know what I'm saying? Or you need to be converted, and converted not by going and preaching gospel to nobody what they try to tell us to do, but they gonna convert your ass by killing your ass. You know what I'm saying? By torturing you and beating it into you like they did us. You know what I'm saying? That's what each one of those religions stand for: Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. So that's the difference right there. These are religions. These Abrahamic religions are like religions of subjugation. You know what I'm saying? Of subjugation. You know, against submission about you to, like I said, to this this non-existent God out there in heaven just sitting around there, you know, doing whatever he want to do. You know, destroying the people and talking about ends of worlds and all this old bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So that's what the difference is, man. The difference is in African spirituality, in our traditional belief system, it was about life. It was about life and about community, about all of us people. It's about Ubuntu and everything. And that bullshit right there is about subjugation and killing people and murdering and all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? Hatred of women, hatred of everything. You know what I'm saying? It teaches hate. I've never seen a God in a African traditional belief system that taught hating people. But all three of them do. You know what I'm saying? You can read any surah in the Quran, you can find that. And in the Bible, you can find that, well, God hate the sinner, God hate this and hate that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but so I ain't want to go off, man, but I just had to go to address that real quick, man. I'm gonna knock off it. That's a great show, Kofi, man, and you need to do we need to do a show on this.
Yeah, I definitely will, because Bwana is absolutely right. People's like, well, what's the alternative? Because when I came and be honest with myself what Christianity is, I was lost. Okay, now what? Now what do I do? What do you know? Because we're by natural, we're religious people. We're spiritual people, not religious people. We're spiritual people. We always have a God concept, a God mind. So pretty much like, okay, if this is not me, I need to go back to where my people is. So everything that was told me that's forbidden, that's dark, that's where I found myself, right? In one of my YouTube shorts, right? Caribbean people would know this phrase, Jumbi, right? So if something's wrong with you, or you're scared, or like the boogeyman. So, you know, in America, we call it the boogeyman. But in the Caribbean, we call it Jumbi. Jumbi, back in Africa, was a spiritual protector, right? But being here, anything that is not Jesus, Yahweh, David, Solomon, Moses, Abraham, if you're not saying that and you say Jumbi, automatic, you denote it as being evil, right? So being grown up, Jumbi was a demon, something demonic, something that's gonna get you at night. You know what I'm saying? Is you guys see like what's wrong? You see Jumbi? Your spirit full of Jumbi? Or like it's always something like, whoa, what's that? That don't sound English, so that got to be wrong. You know, so I ran into the darkness, according to the Christian. I ran into the darkness, all the place where you're not supposed to go, all the evil place you're not supposed to go. And then that's where you find yourself. Like, wait. They demonize this. And again, to me, going into religion, talking about religion, unveiling all the things that they say is evil, and all the things that they're saying is not evil, all these things need to be revealed. And then you see where you came from and why these people are demonizing your ways. You know, but Brother Carr, you still on? I don't know if you're
I put it on do not disturb this time, so can't nobody call me. So let me finish. Look, man, I'm gonna just go ahead. This was an excellent show. The next time you do another one about it, have you ever read the Christian Doctrine of Discovery? Read the Christian Doctrine of Discovery. The Muslims have one too. I can't remember exactly what I don't know if it's called Islamic doctrine, but it's basically the same thing, saying you go wherever you go. When people get mad and say, white people didn't find this country, right? That's the word, white people. And they say they found this country. They didn't find this country. People was already here, right?
Mm-hmm.
But your Bible tell you lean not into your own understanding.
True.
And right now, you got to lean into white people understanding. If you look at the Christian Doctrine of Discovery, white people founded this country. When they say they founded something, according to the Christian Doctrine of Discovery, it tell you wherever you go, if you see people, even if you see people, you plant your flag and make this a Christian land. And you do what you have to do to make everyone there Christian. You have found the land and made it Christian. When they say they found the country, that's what they mean. They don't mean wouldn't nobody here. Now they will try to erase you, and eventually that's what they wanted to say. But that's not what they originally means when they say, I found this place. They saying they found it with Christianity. Christianity found it, they planted their flag, and they made everybody become a Christian. That's what they mean. But man, it's an uphill fight for us. I'm gonna say again, we have to get serious if we wanna live, if we wanna survive. We're gonna have to stop making us the problem all the time. Because whenever you hear us talk, we are the reason at all times. And I'm not, you know, and I'm speaking in general when I talk about us and I say this, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We are the reason at all times we're in this position. We're in this position now partially maybe because we have lost our way. We have lost our mind. I say we crazy, and I mean that. I say black people crazy, and I mean that. But it we're crazy because of the system, and in this system we are trying to mimic crazy people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, but
on that,
to me, I say that's part of our strength because we're not even supposed to be here. No other people going through what we've been through and still here.
yep, yeah, that is part of our strength. But you know what? A lot of people forgot that's part of our strength. That's why all of a sudden now, this I'm indigenous to this land, and I'm quite sure it might have been some people way back then. Even when you hear the Moorish doctrine and they don't like Africa, but that's their doctrine come from. I told you, Anthony know the guy named who I've always talk about. If
What,
you can
Noble
write the
Drew Ali?
No, Noble Drew Ali got it from a guy who was enslaved here from from Mali, and that's how he got out of slavery. Somebody said he was a Moor, and he was way back then telling people way back then, if you start dressing like this and doing this, and say you're Moor, you'll be treated different. But he was lying too, because when they found out that he wasn't a Moor, and they had to find out he wasn't a Moor because they was going to send him to Morocco because they did have a treaty with Morocco.
But those are for like the white Arabs, man. That's the thing I never understood.
I know, so let me tell you, and by this time, the Arabs have taken over Morocco with no black people there then, not in charge. So he had to tell the truth when they got ready to put him on a ship and send him to Morocco. he said he wasn't. He said he was not. He said he was not a Moor, and he had to tell him because he would have been enslaved.
Yep.
In Morocco. And he never told that truth until he went up north, and I don't blame him, to the free states. And that's when he told it, and that's how he remained. That's how he remained free. But in that process of remaining free, through that lie, he was going around propagating what the Moors say. If you dress like this and if you do this, they will treat you different. Even though he knew that wasn't the truth, he couldn't come back down south because they had put a warrant out for him. They were going to kill him for lying. Yeah. And when he was able, so they raised money to buy his freedom completely, but he could never take, he was in Natchez, Mississippi. He could never take he couldn't even take all his kids back to that. Him, his wife, and 2 kids, I think they had 10 together. Couldn't even go. He had like 8 kids that couldn't even go with him. So till this day, they still have family reunions though. People from Natchez, Mississippi and Liberia and other part of Africa, they get together like every 5 years. The people from Africa come to Natchez, Mississippi, and then the next time the people from Natchez, Mississippi go to Africa to visit their family. They know who their family is.
Yeah, he couldn't do that. If he went back to Morocco, they would have cut his dick off because most of the people around, the black men around there, you know what I'm saying, if you're in high society, they're scared you're going to be with their women and they make you a eunuch.
Yep, and that's the problem. But guess what? They still chose Islam over being black.
Yeah.
Now,
that's weird. I told that story before. I knew a guy from Senegal, Wolof, and it was during Ramadan. And I always ask the story. I was like, "Do you see yourself as a Muslim man or a Wolof man?" And he looked at me like I was talking Cantonese. Like, what kind of question is that? I'm like, God damn, that's horrible.
Yeah, he see himself as a Muslim man, and we allow the defiant lawyer. You say you know who he is. I'm gonna say this, then I'm gonna get off because you're ready to get off, and I got to go see my grandkids. And he was like, he said he was a Christian before anything. He's a Christian before he's black. I'm like,
he a minister. Yeah, he a minister.
Yeah. Even though I like him,
I like
him because he bring out facts because he's an attorney and he's the type of people on certain things that we need to listen to, him and his daughter, because he know the law. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but man, but go ahead, man. I'm gonna get off here.
All right, man. I really appreciate
thank you for letting me speak. Holler at y'all later.
All right, man. All right. Thanks for coming. Thanks for Brother McCarty for coming. Thanks for Anthony, Buana. Peace out to the chat. On matron. Thank you everybody for coming through. Like, again, I know it's not a popular topic, but it is a topic that need to be held. I played you Pastor Manning and all the despicable things he thinks about black people globally, about how we're just naturally inferior. We don't understand the world. We can't rule. We have not ruled one nation. We have not built anything above one story. This is the average Christian mind, right? The average Christian mind, the average Hebrew Israelite mind, which even is Christianity on steroids, where they're going out the way to demonize African people, even African children. Don't want to feed the African children, want nothing to do with Africans, right? But they'll sit up skinning and grinning, tap dancing and eating with white people and eating with white folks. You see what I'm trying to say? This is the sickness and the disease we have to deal with. So to me, this is knowledge and love. Knowledge and love of black self. I ain't saying kumbaya, hug everybody. Hell no. I'm saying you have to find the love, your black ass self. You know what I'm saying? Because black is never good enough. They had some person on I think it was on Twitter, and I love their Twitter handle. It says black mixed with black. And I started laughing because it's usually blacks mixed with anything but black in order for it to be to work something, for it to be for it to have any kind of meaning or value. So I like that Twitter handle, black mixed with black. So I think when it comes to religion, we should get rid of the taboo topics and go through this with black love and respect. And I think that's how, when it comes to my philosophy, this is how we get rid of this. Saying, just talk about the situation. Don't, let not it be like a forbidden topic. Talk about it and pursue with black love and see what happens. But thank you all for coming, for passing through. Hopefully Brother Bakari will do something tonight or whatever. We keep a lookout for that. But yeah, I wanted to do this, and I'm glad you all came here to make it possible. And until next time, black love, black power. And yeah, tomorrow is Easter. Fuck that. Yesterday was Black Friday. Fuck that. I didn't want to. That's another reason why I was doing this, because it's going to get all religious-y and things like that. And again, keep the conversation going in the chat. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do a show about what is the alternative besides besides Abrahamic spirituality. And yeah, that'll be a good topic. But also, if you guys want to do another topic on Abrahamic religions, or if you think I got something wrong or right, or if you're a person out there that feel that, well, no, Christianity is better for black people, I would love to have a conversation about that. I would love. It could be Christianity, it could be the Hebrew faith, it could be Islam. I would love to have a conversation about that if you're one of those people that feel that Abrahamic religion is better for black people and, it's actually our salvation. But until next time, everybody, black power, black love, peace.